Chapter 181. Rumble. The void shook and divine light surged like an ocean. Waves after waves of terrifying waves swept out in all directions. The collision between Ling Xiao and Shi Skyfall was like the collision of two ancient sacred mountains. Their vital energy and blood were like furnaces, emitting an aura that made one's heart tremble. Although Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the first level of the Dragon-Tiger realm, his physical body was invincible. He activated the secret skill of the ancestral dragon and released the violent dragon superpower. The vital energy and blood in his body were like an ocean. Every punch was like a star in the sky, containing peerless power. On the other hand, Shi Skyfall was covered in black light. He was cold and evil. There seemed to be a huge heavenly snake behind him, providing him with endless power. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes were cold. His body was surrounded by strands of golden light. His vital energy and blood rose, and a huge fist radiance fell from the sky. Bang! Ling Xiao and Shi Skyfall clashed with their physical strength. There was a slight explosion in the void. Ling Xiao did not move, but Shi Skyfall was sent flying dozens of feet by his fist. However, Shi Skyfall's body seemed to be dancing in the wind as it twisted back at an unimaginable angle. His body tensed up like a bowstring as he gathered a vast amount of divine energy and attacked at an even faster speed. Boom! Ling Xiao's fist radiance was unparalleled. It was like a huge rotating star, emitting a vast and ancient aura. The fist intent was strong and masculine, as if it was going to cleanse the world of all evil. Ling Xiao's fist landed on Shi Skyfall's arm and forced him back. At the same time, he leaped forward and stomped on the ground. Like a heavenly pillar, a dazzling golden light burst out from under Ling Xiao's feet as he stomped on Shi Skyfall's face. "You're courting death." Shi Skyfall's face turned cold. A strange sound wave burst out from his mouth. Black light surged behind him as he opened his bloody mouth to devour Ling Xiao. As if the heavenly snake was going to devour the world, the chilling hiss sent chills down everyone's spine. A huge heavenly snake, hundreds of feet long, leaped into the sky and swallowed Ling Xiao. "A little snake dares to show off?" Ling Xiao sneered. The divine light under his feet instantly blazed. Tens of thousands of rays of golden light burst out, intertwining with each other as they charged straight at Sky Snake. At the same time, traces of 5-colored flames appeared in Ling Xiao's palm. They flowed with a strange light and suddenly shot towards the heavenly snake seal. Rumble! Ling Xiao's body was so tiny compared to Sky Snake's, but when that peerless power exploded, Sky Snake was actually sent flying by Ling Xiao's kick. Ling Xiao was like a golden lightning. His speed was extremely fast. His palm imprinted on the Sky Snake, and the 5-colored flame instantly exploded. This was the true devouring flame. It contained the power of life and death of the 5 elements. It was undying and indestructible. It could burn the heavens and destroy the earth. It was extremely terrifying. The heavenly snake was merely a manifestation of the martial Dao concept of the heavenly snake descent. Naturally, it could not withstand the burning of the 5-colored flames. It instantly turned into a sea of fire. Rumble! Strands of golden lightning crisscrossed the sea of fire. The heavenly snake churned intensely as if it had a life of its own. It let out an intense roar. "What?" Sky Snake Descent's expression changed. This heavenly snake was formed by the fist intent of the heavenly snake king fist. It resonated with the heavens and earth, nurtured spirituality, and exploded with unparalleled divine power. However, it was actually destroyed by a small flame from Ling Xiao. How was this possible? However, Ling Xiao did not give Sky Snake Descent the chance to be shocked. Boundless divine light filled the sky, and peerless golden light surrounded his body. Ling Xiao was like a young divine king. His body was covered in multicolored light, and his feet stepped on the blazing sun as he punched out. This punch was the pinnacle of Ling Xiao's physical strength. It was the complete explosion of the Vajra fist intent. It was formed by Ling Xiao's murderous intent and anger. This punch shocked the heavens and earth and made ghosts and gods weep. Rumble! The moment Shi Tianluo saw Ling Xiao's cold eyes, A vast amount of fist intent burst forth. Kacha. In the sky, streaks of divine light crisscrossed like lightning. The wind and clouds changed color, and the void trembled. Faintly, a chaotic aura filled the air. That blazing divine light storm turned everyone's vision into a vast expanse of white. They were instantly blinded. After the storm dissipated, everyone looked over. Their hearts were filled with incomparable shock. Just who won and who lost? In the sky, Ling Zhao's body was surrounded by golden light. His white robes were peerless, and his black hair fluttered. He stood in the air like a young divine king, untainted by even a speck of dust. On the other hand, Sky Snake Descent's figure was sent flying dozens of feet by Ling Zhao. He landed directly on the ground from the void. Boom, boom, boom. Sky Snake Descent's footsteps landed on the martial arts arena. Every step he took left a few clear footprints on the ground, using the ground to disperse that unparalleled divine power. Sky Snake Descent retreated more than 10 steps before he could stabilize himself. How is this possible? How can he have such a freakish physical body? Sky Snake Descent's heart seemed to have been set off by huge waves. His eyes were filled with disbelief. His arm was trembling, and a trace of bright red blood seeped out. His organs were shaking, and his blood was surging. Ling Zhao's punch just now was too terrifying. Sky Snake Descent felt as if he was not facing a human, but a peerless divine beast that had just awakened from the primordial era. If he had not used all his strength and even burned a portion of his blood essence, he would not have been able to withstand Ling Zhao's punch. However, in the end, he was still completely defeated in terms of physical strength. How can Ling Zhao be so strong? Even senior brother Snake is no match for him? The disciples of the Wan Shou sect were also stunned. Sky Snake Descent, whom they usually regarded as a god, was actually at a disadvantage. This completely overturned their understanding. Ling Zhao seems to be born with divine power, and he has cultivated an extremely powerful body-refining martial art. That's why senior brother Snake is at a disadvantage. That's right. In terms of true strength, senior brother Snake is far superior to Ling Zhao. Did you see that? Senior brother Snake is furious. Ling Zhao is finished this time. The disciples of the Wan Shou sect convinced themselves. They forcefully suppressed the uneasiness and shock in their hearts, and their faces returned to their cold and indifferent expressions. As for He Qing, he was even more shocked than the disciples of the Wan Shou sect. This was because he felt an extremely familiar aura from Ling Zhao's body. The body-refining martial art that Ling Zhao cultivated contained a dragon's roar and emitted a dragon's might. It was extremely similar to a peerless martial art of the Wan Shou sect. Who exactly is Ling Zhao? Later, we must capture him and torture him to find out his secrets. Elder He Qing's gaze became deep and cold, and a faint dangerous aura spread out. Very well, Ling Zhao. You've completely angered me. I admit that your physical strength is indeed very strong, but you must know that the reason why a grandmaster is called a grandmaster and why he can suppress a dragon tiger realm martial artist is not something you can imagine. Sky Snake Descent's gaze was extremely cold, and his entire body was filled with killing intent. A terrifying energy gradually spread out. In the void, the color of the sky changed, and the wind and clouds surged. Endless clouds trembled, and a black divine light shot high up into the sky as if it was going to cover the sky. This terrifying wave of energy caused everyone's expression to change drastically. A martial art that draws upon the power of heaven and earth? Psst, psst. This is a heaven-class martial art. Chapter 182. Martial arts techniques were divided into yellow class, black class, earth class, heaven class, and sovereign class. Sovereign class martial arts were legendary martial arts techniques that were almost impossible to see. Anyone who could obtain a sovereign class martial art would become a peerless expert and dominate the world. Heaven class martial arts were the highest martial arts techniques that everyone could imagine. However, heaven class martial arts were extremely rare even in the holy land of the martial arts. Normally, only the true disciples and elders of the sects could cultivate them. In the entire Grand Barren ancient country, Only the imperial family of the Grand Baron had heaven-class martial arts and the Demon Lord's triple-kill demon suppressing blade. Heaven-class martial arts were techniques that could lead one to the noble realm. They contained the will of heaven and earth and were extremely powerful. They had the power to destroy the world. That was why everyone was so shocked when they saw Shi Tianluo use heaven-class martial arts. A loud roar resounded through the sky. It was like the sound of a heavenly drum. It contained a strange sound wave that caused everyone's hearts to tremble. Shi Tianluo's body slowly floated up. Endless black divine light surged and his body seemed to be enveloped by blazing black lightning. A huge snake head peeked out from behind him. The snake head was like a small mountain and its eyes were like blood moons. It was filled with a murderous aura. It contained a violent killing intent as it stared at Ling Xiao. The endless light in the surroundings seemed to be swallowed by the snake head. Darkness covered the sky and a terrifying aura spread out. Ling Xiao, your physical body is indeed strong. However, I would like to see how you can withstand my Sky Serpent true skill. Shi Tianluo's eyes were cold like a venomous snake. His black hair fluttered in the wind as he charged towards Ling Xiao at an extremely fast speed. Black divine light surged and the huge snake head seemed to have merged with Shi Tianluo. The wind raged and the black storm swept in all directions and engulfed Ling Xiao. It's the Sky Serpent true skill? Ling Xiao is dead for sure. That's right. The Sky Serpent true skill is one of the 7 sky skills of the Wan Shou sect. It contains the power to swallow the world. Ling Xiao will definitely be swallowed. Once the sky snake appears, who can contend against it? The disciples of the Wan Shou sect were all extremely excited. Feeling this terrifying aura, everyone's expression changed. This was not something that Ling Tianxi, who only had half a cultivation base, could compare with. Although Ling Tianxi had also cultivated the heaven-class martial art, the triple-kill demon blade, Ling Tianxi had only scratched the surface. He could not even use 1% of the true strength of the triple-kill demon blade. As for Shi Tianluo, he had obtained the inheritance of the true heavenly serpent technique. He represented the strongest among the younger generation of the myriad beasts sect's heavenly serpent branch. Ling Zhao's gaze turned solemn as well. He could sense that Shi Tianluo's Sky Serpent true technique had already been cultivated to the initial stage. That primordial aura already contained some true intent. Although Shi Skyfall was only at LV6 of the Supreme Power Realm, he had the combat strength to kill a LV9 Supreme Power Realm expert once he used the Sky Snake true skill. Unfortunately, his opponent was Ling Xiao. True Sky Serpent technique? Let's see if your true Sky Serpent technique or my 4 elephants hitting the sky is stronger. Ling Xiao growled, the sharpness in his eyes exploding to the maximum at this moment. Boom, 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 boom. 4 divine lights, yellow, black, green, and red, shot up from Ling Xiao's body into the sky. In an instant, the sky trembled as a peerless sharpness erupted. The heaven and earth energy rose, the black ocean was boundless, the green wind raged from the 9 heavens, and the red flames enveloped the entire world. This was the power of the 4 elephants' divine light. It contained Ling Zhao's comprehension of the laws of heaven and earth, and it contained a peerless combat strength that surpassed the limit. What? Ling Xiao is also using a heaven-class martial art? This is not the triple-kill demon blade. How can he know a heaven-class martial art? Everyone was in an uproar as their eyes were filled with disbelief. In the entire Great Baron Ancient Kingdom, only the Great Baron Imperial family and the Demon Lord knew of heaven-class martial arts. What Ling Xiao was using now was actually the 3rd heaven-class martial art. Instantly, many people's eyes were filled with greed. This was a heaven-class martial art. If they could obtain it, even if they could not establish a country, it would be the peerless foundation of a 1,000-year-old family. However, the cold aura that Ling Xiao exuded woke many people up in an instant. Ling Xiao was not someone to be trifled with. Those who were not in the sky realm would definitely die if they went up against Ling Xiao. Rumble. Ling Xiao was enveloped by the 4 elephants' divine light, and the power of the 4 heavenly phenomenon faintly permeated his body. Finally, It gathered into a terrifying killing force that suppressed Shi's skyfall. Ling Zhao's gaze was extremely sharp. At this moment he had used all his trump cards. Heaven Devouring's secret skill. Ancestral Dragon's secret skill. Dragon Rage super ability. Four Elephants Sky striking style. That killing force, which contained Ling Zhao's conviction to kill Shi Tianluo, came crashing over fiercely. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled. The sturdy rocks on the martial arts practice field were instantly turned into dust under the surging divine light. Sand and stones flew as the divine light swept in all directions. The sky snake was roaring, and the divine light was whistling, blocking everyone's vision. No one could see clearly what was happening in the center of the battlefield. Moreover, such a terrifying battle attracted the attention of countless people in the royal capital. They all looked in the direction of the Demon King's mansion. Could it be that two sky beings are fighting? Someone exclaimed. His eyes were filled with shock, and he felt his heart pounding. In the Demon King's mansion, everyone, including the people on the stone steps, retreated. Their eyes were filled with fear. There were even some weaker cultivators who were affected by the aftermath. Their organs were injured, and they spat out a mouthful of blood. Who won? Everyone's eyes were filled with doubt. They stared at the center of the battlefield, eager to know the result of this battle. Rumble. A stream of light fell from the sky and smashed into the ground like a star. Immediately, a human-shaped crater appeared on the ground. Cough, cough. Violent coughs could be heard. The figure in the crater struggled to stand up, revealing a crazed and twisted face. It was Shi Skyfall. Shi Skyfall was defeated? The scene was dead silent. Everyone was stunned, as if they were in a dream. Shi Skyfall, a true disciple of the Thousand Beasts sect and one of the Thousand Beasts' 7 disciples, who possessed the sky-level martial art, true sky snake technique, was defeated by Ling Zhao? Everyone felt as if something in their hearts had been broken. At this moment, they did not even have the time to think. They just stared blankly at everything before them. Rumble. Above the void, the golden divine light dissipated. Ling Zhao's snow-white robe was spotless as he slowly descended. However, at this moment, Ling Zhao's face was extremely pale. There was also a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Chapter 183. After all, Ling Zhao's cultivation was only at the first level of the Dragon Tiger realm. Although the 4 Elephants Sky striking style contained an unparalleled killing power, Shi Skyfall wasn't weak either. The Sky Snake true skill posed a great threat to Ling Zhao. Although Ling Zhao defeated Shi Skyfall in the end, he couldn't help but be injured. I don't believe it, I don't believe it. A piercing voice was heard as Shi Skyfall roared crazily. He looked extremely pathetic. His clothes were torn, and his entire body was dyed red with blood. He coughed up blood as he screamed crazily. How can I lose? I'm the invincible Shi Skyfall. My Sky Snake true skill is the strongest martial art in the world. Go to hell, go to hell. Shi Skyfall glared at Ling Zhao viciously. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he pounced on Ling Zhao. He was knocked off his pedestal in this battle and suffered a great blow. He couldn't take it anymore. All he could think of was to kill Ling Zhao. He must kill Ling Zhao. Scram! Ling Zhao's gaze turned cold as he slapped Shi Skyfall. Smith. Shi Skyfall's face swelled instantly. He was sent flying dozens of feet away by Ling Zhao. His teeth flew out, mixed with blood, and landed heavily on the ground. The martial arts practice field was dead silent. Qing Qing, Xia Yunran, Chen Weishan, and the rest could no longer maintain their calm. They were all dumbfounded. As for Ling Yunxiang, there was even a tinge of fear in his eyes. Ling Zhao's strength was far beyond his expectations. That invincible figure was like a nightmare that was deeply imprinted in his heart. He couldn't help but tremble. Oh my God, young lord is too strong. Meng Ao slapped himself hard to make sure that he wasn't dreaming. Then he suddenly grinned and laughed. As for Xia Hongxiu, she was already stunned. Her shoulders were trembling, and her delicate face was pale. Other than shock, there was also endless bitterness. The young man in front of her had proven his strength time and time again, giving Xia Hongxiu a resounding slap. At the same time, Xia Hongxiu's eyes were filled with worry. No matter how heaven-defying Ling Xiao was, the Myriad Beasts sect still had Elder He Qing, who was a veteran heaven-tier powerhouse. Would Ling Xiao be able to defy the heavens again? However, Xia Hongxiu clearly saw the trace of blood at the corner of Ling Xiao's mouth. He was also injured, which meant that he also had his limits. After a brief moment of shock, the Wanshou sect's disciples' eyes were filled with rage. Elder Crane, kill this brat. Ling Xiao is too arrogant. He actually injured senior brother Snake. I hope Elder Crane can take action and exterminate this little bastard. Elder He Qing took a deep breath and suppressed the shock in his heart. His eyes became extremely cold as a terrifying killing intent spread out. Boom! Just as Ling Xiao was about to attack and kill Shi Tianluo, a cold killing intent locked onto him. Without thinking, Ling Xiao used the Cloud Dragon 9 transformation technique and dodged instantly. Boom! A gigantic black palm print missed its target and ruthlessly imprinted itself on the ground, creating a deep crater in the ground. What? The young one has lost, and the old one is finally prepared to be shameless? Ling Xiao looked coldly at He Qing. He Qing was the one who had attacked just now. Little bastard, I didn't expect that I would be so wrong. With your talent, even among the Myriad Beast 7 Scions, you can be ranked in the top 3. He Qing took a step forward in the air. His eyes were deep and there was a cold killing intent in them. He reached out and grabbed Shi Tianluo, who had been knocked unconscious by Ling Xiao, and threw him to the Myriad Beasts sect disciples. The Myriad Beasts sect disciples hurriedly caught Shi Tianluo and fed him a healing elixir, looking after him carefully. However, of all the things you should not have done, you should not have offended the Myriad Beasts sect. If you had surrendered just now, perhaps I would have left your corpse intact. But now, not only you, but everyone related to you will die. He Qing's voice was like thunder, filled with a heavenly might that exploded between heaven and earth. At the same time, a terrifying aura that swept through heaven and earth spread out. He Qing's celestial realm cultivation instantly exploded, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. This was a celestial realm powerhouse. They were one with the heavens, reflecting the heavens, and using their own strength to mobilize the power of heaven and earth. It was boundless and immeasurable. If Shi Tianluo's true sky serpent technique was comparable to a peerless general with unparalleled combat strength, then He Qing was a god, using the power of heaven. There was a limit to human strength, but the power of heaven and earth was limitless. The difference between a grandmaster and a celestial realm powerhouse was much greater than the difference between a dragon tiger and a grandmaster. It was like the difference between heaven and earth. Therefore, even if Ling Xiao defeated Shi Tianluo, in front of He Qing, no one thought that he had any chance. Ling Xiao's gaze instantly turned cold. He stared at He Qing without the slightest fear in his eyes. The Myriad Beast sect is really domineering. I'm standing right here. I'd like to see how you're going to kill me today. Ling Xiao's voice was clear, and his eyes were like torches as he stared at He Qing. At the same time, there seemed to be a mysterious light flowing into the ground beneath Ling Xiao's feet. It was very weak and did not attract anyone's attention. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with madness. If He Qing really dared to attack, he would make He Qing pay an unimaginable price even if he was seriously injured. Elder He, can you give me some face and let this matter rest for now? Senior brother, she only suffered some injuries. It's not a big deal. A cold voice was heard. She actually wanted to plead for Ling Xiao. When the crowd saw the person who spoke, they instantly had a strange expression on their faces. Because that person was actually Xia Hongxiu. Xia Hongxiu was dressed in crimson armor. Her body was slender and perfect with exquisite curves. Although she looked very pale, her eyes revealed a hint of pleading as she looked at Elder He Qing. Princess Hongxiu? You want to plead for him? Have you forgotten who was the one who humiliated you just now? He Qing's gaze was also a little strange. He knew a little about what happened just now. Xia Hongxiu wanted to cancel the engagement with Ling Xiao, but she was severely humiliated by Ling Xiao. Logically speaking, Xia Hongxiu should be the one who should not be pleading for Ling Xiao. Why did she stand up for him? Xia Hongxiu looked at Ling Xiao and said slowly, I don't regret coming to the Ling family today to cancel the engagement. It's not that I think Ling Xiao is useless. It's just that I don't want to tie my life to a stranger. I, Xia Hongxiu, have to decide my own marriage. Although my method may have hurt Ling Xiao, I don't regret it. Because today is my only chance. Elder He, I beg you to let Ling Xiao go. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had a higher opinion of Xia Hongxiu. Although this young girl was arrogant and did things to the extreme without leaving any leeway, in the end, her heart wasn't bad. No, I can't agree to this. Chapter 184. Xia Hongxiu's face was pale and her body trembled. Her eyes were filled with bitterness. However, she seemed to have thought of something. She looked deeply at Ling Xiao and turned to walk towards the carriage behind her. Boy, are you going to surrender or wait for me to take action? He Qing looked at Ling Xiao coldly. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. Instantly, Ling Xiao felt that the surrounding air seemed to have solidified. The entire area was filled with He Qing's aura. It was vast and majestic and it wanted to force Ling Xiao to kneel down. Old man, if you want to fight, just do it. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Ling Xiao sneered. His body was straight and his eyes were as sharp as a sword. He quickly activated the Devouring Heaven secret skill and devoured the spiritual crystals in the longevity ring to heal his injuries and restore his cultivation. At the same time, there were streaks of five-colored light flowing under Ling Xiao's feet. They merged into the depths of the earth and were almost undetectable. Ling Xiao stood there casually. However, he was accumulating power and there was a hint of madness in his eyes. Little bastard, you're courting death. He Qing's face turned cold and he slammed his palm down on Ling Xiao. Boom! Heaven and earth roared and mist rose. The palm was like an ancient sacred mountain pressing down on Ling Xiao. It contained an invincible force. The sharpness in Ling Xiao's eyes rose to the maximum in an instant. Old man, if you want to touch the young master, you'll have to get through me first. A loud roar was heard and a heavenly halberd slashed down from the sky. It contained an extremely violent aura and it was like a dragon flying across the sky. It was unstoppable. Meng Ao's eyes were filled with determination. His black hair flew in the wind and his golden chainmail shone brightly. He was like an invincible god of war and his fighting spirit was surging. Meng Ao's heavenly halberd blocked He Qing's palm and there was a burst of divine light fluctuation. Boom! The void shook violently and it swept out in all directions. You're courting death. He Qing's face turned cold. He did not expect that a mere level 9 grandmaster would dare to stand up for Ling Xiao. Divine force gushed out from his palm and his palm print was like a mountain. It slammed heavily on the heavenly halberd. Unparalleled divine power erupted, and the halberd blossomed with a resplendent radiance. Meng Ao was directly sent flying by He Qing's palm strike by several tens of feet. Peef! Meng Ao's face flushed red, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura immediately weakened. As expected of the Heaven tier, he's not someone I can match. Meng Ao sighed softly, but the determination in his eyes grew stronger. Tiger, are you all right? Let's fight it out with him. Lu Xiongfei also hurriedly supported Meng Ao. His eyes revealed a trace of worry as he angrily said, Lao Xiong, I'll hold this old bastard back. You take young master and leave first. Meng Ao's eyes were filled with determination as he spoke. No, if we die together. The two of us will stall He Qing together and buy more time for young lord. Lu Xiongfei also gritted his teeth, and a trace of determination appeared in his eyes. Meng Ao took a deep look at Lu Xiongfei and laughed out loud. All right, old bear. The last time we fought side by side was 5 years ago when we followed His Highness to exterminate the bandits of the Blackwater Stronghold, right? Today, let us brothers work together again. However, this old bastard is not simple. Are you afraid? Lu Xiongfei laughed and actually swore, which was rare for him. Why should I be afraid of him? If he wants to touch young lord, even if I can't beat him, I'll still bite off a piece of his flesh. He Qing in front of them was not someone who had just entered the Heaven tier, but a veteran in the Heaven tier. His combat strength was unparalleled, and Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei simply had no chance. Even so, they still chose to attack because they wanted to create a chance for Ling Xiao to escape. "Young lord, hurry up and leave. We'll stall this old bastard." Meng Ao's voice rang in Ling Xiao's ears with a hint of urgency. Boom! Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei looked at each other and attacked at the same time. The sky halberd flew across the sky, and a black murderous aura lingered in it, making it look like a black dragon, crossing the 9 heavens and breaking through the air. A rapid sonic boom sounded, accompanied by a monstrous sharpness. Meng Ao was like a peerless warrior from ancient times, raising the sky halberd high and slashing down at He Qing. Lu Xiongfei, on the other hand, pulled out the long sword behind his back. The sword vibrated and released hundreds of millions of sword rays, bright and sharp. The long sword in his hand gathered the power of heaven and earth, turning into a huge light sword that was hundreds of feet long, traversing the void. Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei were peerless warriors who had followed Demon Lord Jinyao to conquer the world. Their combat strength was monstrous, and they were even stronger than warriors of the same level. When they attacked, the sharpness had reached the peak of the Master Realm. "Ants will always be ants. Since you're so anxious to die, I'll fulfill your wish." He Qing stood in the air, his robe fluttering, and his eyes were cold and indifferent. When he saw Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei attacking at the same time, a hint of disdain appeared at the corner of his mouth. His hand formed a fist seal, and a sharp sound came from his mouth. Screech! The clear sound pierced through gold and cracked stone, reaching high into the clouds. He Qing's body was incomparably light, like a red-crowned crane soaring in the air. His hand formed a fist seal, and his attack was slow and clumsy, striking the void in the air. Behind him, a huge red-crowned crane seemed to appear in the void. The sharp beak of the crane emitted a sharp light, and it lightly pecked at Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei. Boom! The sky-piercer halberd in Meng Ao's hand broke from the middle with a cracking sound. The baleful aura that filled the sky was swept away. His chest was struck by He Qing's fist. His entire body flew back and suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Xiongfei's cultivation was weaker than Meng Ao's, and the huge light sword in the void was directly pecked by the red-crowned crane. In the light that filled the sky, Lu Xiongfei was also struck by lightning. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell from the void. "Go to hell!" He Qing's eyes revealed a trace of burning, killing intent. He pointed his finger in the air, and a bright light shot toward Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei. He wanted to completely kill Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei. He wanted to let everyone know that this was the fate of those who dared to offend the Wanshou sect. "Old thing, how dare you?" A voice filled with rage rang out, and Ling Zhao's body bloomed with brilliance, like a flame burning fiercely. The dragon's roar shook the 9 heavens. Ling Zhao's eyes were as cold as iron, and his killing intent was strong. He flew through the sky, and his body was surrounded by 5-colored divine light, and he threw a punch at He Qing. Boom! He Qing's finger touched Ling Zhao's arm, and suddenly a bloody mist filled the air. A bloody hole appeared on Ling Zhao's arm, but Ling Xiao did not even frown. The divine light that filled the sky exploded, and Ling Xiao moved freely in the void, bringing Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei back safely. "Little bastard, you can't even protect yourself, and you still want to save people? Today, none of you can escape, and all of you will die." He Qing was expressionless, and he stood in the air, but the coldness and killing intent in his voice made people shudder. "Looks like I have no choice but to take that step." Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of madness. In an instant, the 5-colored brilliance under his feet was unparalleled, and it blended into the depths of the earth, and was about to take action. "Who dares to touch the Holy Sun? Whoever dares to touch him must die." Suddenly, a domineering voice exploded in the void. Chapter 185. That sword radiance was as bright as the sun, exuding a vast heavenly might. It was mysterious and bright, crossing the 9 heavens and covering the radiance of the sun. The sword radiance was dazzling and contained a peerless sharpness, as if it could pierce through everything. It was extremely fast. Everyone's eyes were filled with whiteness. They could only vaguely see a figure in the middle of the sea of swords, flying towards He Qing with a violent and powerful aura. Who is it? He Qing's expression changed greatly. He did not dare to be careless in the face of such a peerless sword. He instantly formed a seal with his hands, and the red-crowned crane behind him seemed to condense from an inexplicable space-time in an instant. It let out a sharp cry and pecked across the sky. Clang! Boom! There was a sound of metal colliding, followed by an explosion. Endless divine light covered the sky, and the peerless sword radiance smashed the red-crowned crane into pieces in the void, enveloping He Qing. Boom! The two figures separated in the void, standing in the air, exuding a terrifying aura. He Qing's face was extremely ugly. Although the previous attack seemed to be on par, the robe on his body was tattered, and there was even a bloody wound on his arm. Blood flowed out, faintly exuding a peerless sword essence. Who are you? Why are you interfering in the affairs of our Wanshou sect? He Qing stared at the figure in front of him, and his voice was a little cold. The figure opposite him was a middle-aged man in his 30s. He wore a white robe and his face was handsome, especially his eyes, which were brighter than the stars, as if there were two peerless divine swords hidden in them, making people not dare to look directly at him. Sanju Elder? It's him! Someone exclaimed when he recognized the identity of the figure. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Isn't he at LV9 of the Grandmaster realm? How can he break through to the celestial realm? I almost couldn't recognize him. Is this still the carefree and unrestrained old man 3 extremes? This peerless sword essence is too terrifying. Have you forgotten? 30 years ago, Sanju Elder was not called Sanju Elder, but Sky Sword Li Ling. It was only because he couldn't break through his cultivation that he indulged in wine and alchemy. But now that I see him, I feel that Sky Sword Li Ling is back. Heavenly Sword Li Ling, a celestial being at the 9th level of the Grandmaster realm? Now that he has broken through to the celestial tier, how terrifying would he be? How strange. I've never heard of the Li family having any relationship with the Demon King's mansion. Why would Sky Sword Li Ling help Ling Xiao? Everyone was discussing animatedly. They were all extremely excited. The peerless genius from 30 years ago, the one known as the Heavenly Sword, had returned. Li Ling stood in the air. Rays of sword light gathered around his body. They were as vast as the ocean and emitted a terrifying fluctuation that shook the heavens and the earth. His gaze was sharp, as if he didn't hear He Qing's question or the crowd's discussion. His gaze turned to Ling Xiao, and only then did his gaze soften. Saint, Li Ling is late. Li Ling cupped his hands and said solemnly. Ling Xiao smiled lightly and said, Elder Li, you finally come. If you still didn't come, then I would really be unable to defeat this old fellow. Don't worry, Saint. With me around, no one can touch you. Li Ling's eyes flashed as he stared at He Qing and said indifferently. Everyone was stunned. Saint? Elder Li? Wasn't Sky Sword Li Ling from the Li family in the capital city? When did he become an elder of the sect that Ling Xiao was in? The Li family in the capital city was a noble family. They held a high position in the Great Desolation ancient country and were extremely powerful. They were much stronger than a small sect like the Changsun sect. How could Sky Sword Li Ling be willing to become an elder of the Changsun sect? Including the 9th Prince Xia Yunran, Chen Weishan, Ling Qingqing, and even Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei couldn't understand. You're the 3 absolutes old man, Li Ling? I've heard of you. Everyone said that you won't be able to break through to the celestial tier in 30 years. It seems that the rumors are wrong. Li Ling, you have to think carefully. This is a grudge between the Wanshou sect and Ling Xiao. Is your Li family sure you want to get involved in this? He Qing looked coldly at Li Ling and said indifferently. Although Li Ling's cultivation base was only at the 1st level of the Sky Human realm, which was a few levels lower than He Qing's, He Qing felt a strong sense of threat from Li Ling for some reason. I, Li Ling, am a guardian elder of the Changsun sect. I have nothing to do with the Li family. Ling Xiao is the saint of the Changsun sect. Elder He, if you want to kill Ling Xiao, you have to ask the Sky Extinction Sword in my hand first. Li Ling's eyes were indifferent. He wasn't intimidated by the name of the Wan Shou sect. Good, very good. Since that's the case, let me see if the so-called Sky Sword Li Ling is worthy of his name. He Qing's eyes flashed and his voice became extremely cold. A strong aura spread around him. The powerful cultivation of the celestial tier was completely unleashed. Like a tsunami, it pressed down on Li Ling. Li Ling's eyes flashed with a sharp sword radiance. The sky extinction sword in his hand was swallowing sword radiance and vibrating in the void. An incomparably pure sword Dao mystery was emitted from Li Ling's body and shot into the sky. A great battle between the celestial tiers was about to break out. If the battle between the celestial tier powerhouses broke out, the entire Demon King's mansion would be razed to the ground. The surrounding people no longer had the intention to watch the battle. Their eyes were filled with fear. Elder He, please quell your anger. At that moment, an old voice was heard. Two old men in black robes flew over from afar. One of them had white hair and a hale and hearty face. It was Master Jiao Mu. The other one had white hair and a youthful complexion. He had a sage-like demeanor, but his face was like that of a teenager. However, his eyes revealed the vicissitudes of life and wisdom. He held a purple gold horsetail whisk in his hand. His black robes fluttered in the wind. A golden cauldron and 7 golden stars were embroidered on his chest. High-grade alchemy master. It's spiritual Master Chun Yang and Master Jiao Mu? Some people trembled and revealed a trace of shock in their eyes. Spiritual Master Chun Yang was a high-grade alchemy master and the owner of the Spiritual Medicine Pavilion. He was one of the 2 high-grade alchemy masters in the entire Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom. His cultivation was unfathomable. Master Jiao Mu was a rising star in the royal capital's alchemy world. The 5 profound spiritual pills, 6 profound spiritual pills, and 7 profound treasure pills that he refined caused an uproar in the royal capital. Unexpectedly, Master Jiao Mu had also advanced to a mid-grade alchemy master. Everyone looked at the golden cauldron and 6 golden stars on Master Jiao Mu's chest with shock in their eyes. Chapter 186. He Qing's eyes flashed. Not only was spiritual Master Chun Yang an upper-grade alchemist, but his cultivation was also very high. He was a famous expert in the capital. Moreover, spiritual Master Chun Yang was extremely famous in the entire 8 Desolates region. The Wan Shou sect also treated him as an important guest. As for Master Jiao Mu, He Qing was extremely envious of the 5 profound spirit pill, 6 profound spirit pill, and 7 profound treasure pill recipes in his hands. If he could obtain them, the Wan Shou sect's strength would definitely increase greatly. So it's spiritual Master Chun Yang and Master Jiao Mu. May I know why the 2 of you are here? He Qing squeezed out a smile on his face. At the same time, he had a bad feeling in his heart. Could Ling Shao really be so powerful that he could invite the 2 of them? Elder He, I'm here today for our young friend Ling Shao. Ling Shao and this old man have some connections. I wonder if Elder He can give me some face? Spiritual Master Chun Yang smiled. Elder He, young Master Ling has done me a great favor. If Elder He can let bygones be bygones, this old man will definitely repay you generously. Master Jiao Mu said seriously. No matter what, He Qing had the Wan Shou sect behind him. Even the king of the great wilderness did not dare to offend them. Therefore, spiritual Master Chun Yang and Master Jiao Mu were very polite. He Qing pondered for a moment. Spiritual Master Chun Yang was an upper-grade alchemist. There were only a few of them in the entire 8 Desolates region. His status was extremely high, and his cultivation was also very strong. He Qing had to take his plea seriously. As for Master Jiao Mu, the reward he mentioned would definitely be very heavy. He Qing especially coveted the 5 profound spirit pill, 6 profound spirit pill, and 7 profound treasure pill recipes. Both of them were pleading for Ling Shao. No matter how strong He Qing's killing intent was, he could not help but hesitate. Everyone was looking at He Qing, waiting for his decision. Spiritual Master Chun Yang, Master Jiao Mu. I must give face to the 2 of you. However, Ling Shao killed a disciple of the Wan Shou sect. If I don't kill him, how can I explain it to the sect? He Qing said calmly. Both spiritual Master Chun Yang and Master Jiao Mu frowned slightly. However, the Wanshou sect is not willing to bully the weak. He Qing's tone changed. Oh, what does Elder He mean by that? Sage Pure Yang's eyes flashed as he said with a smile. What do you think? Ling Shao killed a disciple of our Wanshou sect. He should be executed immediately. But, for the sake of Taoist Pure Yang and Master Jiamu, I'm willing to give him a chance. 1 month from now, a disciple of our Wanshou sect will come to the Great Desolation ancient country. At that time, we will have a battle between him and Ling Shao. If Ling Shao wins, he will live. If you lose, you die. He Qing said indifferently. He Qing said this out of his own considerations. In today's situation, Heavenly Sword Li Ling, Pure Sun Spiritual Master, and Master Jiamu had appeared one after another. With so many people protecting Ling Shao, there was no way he could kill Ling Shao. Moreover, the commotion here was so big that it might even alarm that person in the palace. After all, the Grand Desolation ancient country was the territory of the Sun Moon Star sect. They had always been wary of the Myriad Beasts sect. If He Qing insisted on making a move, not only would he fail to kill Ling Shao, but he might even leave a weakness for the Sun Moon Star sect to use against him. He Qing had already seen Ling Zhao's true battle prowess, and the reason why he had set the 1-month agreement was because he had already seen through Ling Zhao's true battle prowess. Although this monster's combat strength was extremely strong, it was obvious that he had used a secret technique with extremely strong explosive power. It was not his true strength. Even if Ling Shao was slightly stronger than Shi Tianluo, it was not by much. Shi Tianluo was ranked last among the Myriad Beasts 7. At that time, any one of the Myriad Beasts 7 would be able to kill Ling Shao. 1 month from now, Ling Shao will have a battle with a disciple of the Myriad Beasts sect? Elder He, the Myriad Beasts sect is a holy land of martial arts. If they send out a Sky Realm expert, I'm afraid Ling Shao will still be dead for sure, right? Pure Sun Spiritual Master frowned slightly. He also understood He Qing's plan. That's right. Elder He, young Master Ling is only in the Dragon Tiger realm. If you want a fair battle, your Myriad Beasts sect should send a disciple in the Dragon Tiger realm. Otherwise, what's the difference between this battle and your battle today? Master Jiamu's eyes turned cold. He Qing's intentions were sinister. On the surface, he seemed to be giving face to Pure Sun Spiritual Master and him, but in reality, he still wanted to kill Ling Shao. Pure Sun Spiritual Master, Master Jiamu, even Shi Tianluo was defeated by Ling Shao. How can he be treated as a mere Dragon Tiger realm expert? But don't worry, the disciple sent by my Myriad Beasts sect won't be too far apart from him in age. As long as Ling Shao wins, I'll do what I say and won't pursue the matter from now on. He Qing said with a faint smile. Pure Sun Spiritual Master and Master Jiamu were still a little hesitant, but Ling Shao sneered and said, "All right, I agree." Ling Zhao's eyes were cold. In his heart, the moment Zhang Kai died, he had already made up his mind. The Myriad Beasts sect must pay the price. However, his cultivation was still too low, and he still needed to accumulate strength. A month's time might be short for others, but for Ling Shao, it was enough. If the Myriad Beasts sect really thought that they could kill Ling Shao in a month's time, Ling Shao believed that he would give them a big surprise. However, I want a death match in a month's time. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed sharply as he stared at He Qing. A death match? Master Jiamu was stunned and quickly said. Even Li Ling's eyes revealed a trace of a bitter smile. Ling Zhao's combat strength was strong beyond their imagination, but if a martial holy land like the Myriad Beasts sect really sent a powerful true disciple, Ling Shao would definitely be no match for him. If it was a normal duel, even if Ling Shao lost, there was still a possibility of turning the situation around. However, if it was a death match, Ling Shao would be in real danger. Elder He, is the Myriad Beasts sect afraid? Ling Shao gave Master Jiamu and Li Ling a comforting look, then turned to He Qing and sneered. Afraid? What a joke! He Qing sneered, his eyes incomparably cold. All right, Ling Shao, since you want a death match, I'll fulfill your wish. I hope you can still say that in a month's time. Alright. I hope the Myriad Beasts sect will do what they say. Don't be like today, jumping out after beating the young. Ling Xiao sneered, his eyes full of ridicule. What a sharp-tongued brat. Let's wait and see. He Qing's eyes were cold, and he took a deep breath to suppress the anger in his heart. With a wave of his sleeve, he hurriedly left with the disciples of the Myriad Beasts sect. Ling Xiao stared at Shi Tianluo, who was being supported by the disciples of the Myriad Beasts sect, and a murderous look flashed across his eyes. He would let Shi Tianluo live today, but one day he would pay for old Zhang's life. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Chapter 187. A trace of fear appeared in Ling Yunxiang's eyes. Ling Zhao's combat strength was extremely strong. He was able to suppress Sky Snake Descent, a Tian-level martial art. Ling Yunxiang felt that even if he faced Ling Xiao, he would not have much chance of winning. More importantly, Ling Xiao had Sky Sword Li Ling, Master Jiao Mu, and Spiritual Master Chun Yang behind him. Any one of these three people could cause the entire capital to tremble with a stomp of their feet. Ling Yunxiang was nothing in front of these people. Ling Yunxiang knew that he and Ling Xiao would not rest until one of them was dead. Now that Ling Xiao had risen to power, even the Wanshou sect could not do anything to him. Ling Xiao would definitely not let him go. Thinking of this, Ling Yunxiang's heart was filled with unwillingness and regret. He regretted not getting rid of Ling Xiao earlier. At the same time, his heart was filled with uncontrollable fear. When Ling Yunxiang looked at the people on the stone steps, including the ninth prince, Xia Yunran, Chen Weishan, and the rest, they all hurriedly avoided his gaze. What a joke! Ling Xiao was now the most monstrous genius in the Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom. Even the 5 princes of the capital paled in comparison to him. Even the Wanshou sect could not do anything to Ling Xiao, so why would they offend Ling Xiao for Ling Yunxiang? Ling Xiao, if you want to kill me, do as you please. I will wait for you below. 1 month later, you will die at the hands of the Wanshou sect. Ling Yunxiang knew that he was going to die, so he simply sneered. Cough cough. Ling Yunxiang, are you still not admitting your guilt? If not for His Highness, what would the Ling family be? Where would you get the resources to cultivate? His Highness treated you well, but how did you treat his only flesh and blood? 3 years ago, when His Highness had just left, you couldn't wait to send young master to Changxing sect. Moreover, you sent people to assassinate him time and time again. If it wasn't for me secretly taking care of him, young master would have died in your hands. And this time, you actually went crazy enough to order people from the underworld to kill the young master? Ling Yunxiang, you deserve to die. Kneel down and admit your guilt. Lu Xiongfei coughed violently and struggled to walk over. He pointed at Ling Yunxiang and said coldly. As for the people from the Ling family, after hearing Lu Xiongfei's words, they all revealed extremely ashamed expressions. That's right, the entire Ling family had received great benefits because of Demon King Ling Zhen, but when they became strong, they forgot everything. So what if Ling Xiao was trash? After all, he was the flesh and blood of the Demon King and was destined to inherit the Demon King's title. As for Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi, they coveted the title of Demon Lord and even tried to harm Ling Xiao time and time again. It was tantamount to biting the hand that fed them and biting the hand that fed them. And all of the Ling family clansmen had become their accomplices. Confess? Ling Xiao was just a piece of trash who couldn't even cultivate. If he inherits the title of Demon Lord, my Ling family will definitely be destroyed in his hands. Although I have my own selfish motives, it's all for the sake of the Ling family's future. I, Ling Yunxiang, don't regret it at all. I only hate that I didn't get rid of this little bastard earlier and caused this disaster. Ling Yunxiang sneered as he stared at Ling Xiao. His eyes were filled with killing intent, as if he was a ferocious beast that was about to devour its prey. How dare you insult the saint? You're courting death. A cold light flashed in Li Ling's eyes as he slapped over. Smith. An expert of the celestial realm was not someone that Ling Yunxiang could contend with at all. A crisp sound rang out in the void, and Ling Yunxiang groaned as he was sent flying by Li Ling over 100 feet away. All of you, aiding the evildoer, deserve to die too. Li Ling's eyes flashed fiercely as a peerless sword intent filled the air, containing an unparalleled sharpness. Instantly, the Ling family clansmen's legs went soft and they almost knelt down. The pressure of a celestial realm powerhouse was not something that they could contend with. All of their faces were pale as they revealed an expression of extreme fear. Young master, we were wrong. It was Ling Yunxiang, that old thing who threatened us. We didn't want to go against the young master, please understand. Yes, young master. Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi deserve to die. We were all deceived by them. Young master, please calm down. We were wrong. The Ling family clansmen seemed to feel threatened as they knelt down towards Ling Xiao and shouted loudly. A few of them spoke with sincerity and even shed tears of regret. Young master, how should we deal with Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi? Lu Xiongfei looked at Ling Xiao and asked. Cripple their cultivation and keep a close watch on them. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Now, Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi were just fish on the chopping board to him. They could be killed at any time. The reason why he spared their lives was that Ling Xiao wanted to find some clues about the netherworld from Ling Yunxiang. Yes. Lu Xiongfei said respectfully. Under the suppression of Sky Sword Li Ling, Ling Yunxiang had no chance to resist at all. In an instant, his qi was broken and all the meridians in his body were broken, turning him into a cripple. Especially Ling Tianxi, who was still in a coma. After his cultivation was crippled, he instantly woke up with a miserable howl. Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi's eyes were filled with despair and resentment. They were immediately guarded by Meng Ao's subordinates. When the Ling family saw the fate of Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi, they all shuddered and their eyes were filled with fear. However, Ling Xiao did not pay attention to them as he looked at the training field in the distance. From there were actually several powerful auras coming over quickly, arriving in front of Ling Xiao very quickly. They were a few palace eunuchs wearing brocade robes. Their faces were fair and clean, and they exuded a cold aura. Ling Xiao received the decree. The leader of the eunuchs shouted in a high-pitched voice as he looked at Ling Xiao with a flattering smile. Read it. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He stood there without any intention of bowing. What a joke. If it were not for the fact that he had taken over this body and had a convenient father, Ling Xiao would not want to be the demon king. He had already guessed the intentions of these eunuchs, so he was not surprised. Although the leader of the eunuchs was infuriated by Ling Xiao's rudeness, he did not dare to show it. He could only slowly open the golden imperial decree and start reading it. By the will of the heavens, the desolate king decrees, the son of the demon king, Ling Xiao, has unparalleled talent. His virtue matches his talent. He illuminates the sun and moon. He is a humble gentleman. He is specially conferred the title of Demon King. As expected, it was the imperial decree conferring Ling Xiao the title of Demon King. Everyone in the martial arts practice field was shocked. They didn't expect that the king in the palace would receive the news so quickly and respond by directly conferring Ling Xiao the title of Demon King Jinyao. Chapter 188. Congratulations, Demon Lord Zhen. Demon Lord Zhen's talent is unparalleled, and he has both integrity and talent. He will definitely be a pillar of the great barren ancient kingdom in the future. Demon Lord Zhen is a man of striking appearance. My daughter is only 16 years old and is still waiting to be betrothed. Demon Lord Zhen, don't listen to Lord Hu's nonsense. His daughter is extremely ugly. My daughter is as beautiful as a flower. She is a perfect match for Lord Zhen. Everyone stood up and saluted Ling Xiao with their fists cupped together. Their faces were filled with fake, flattering smiles. Some even started to have designs on Ling Xiao. However, these were the heads of the small families. The heads of the large families, the 9th Prince Xia Yunran, Chen Weishan, and the others all remained silent. They all knew that although Ling Xiao had become the Demon Lord Zhen, it was still unknown how long he would be able to sit on the throne. After all, there was still a battle to the death in a month's time. Almost no one was optimistic about Ling Xiao's chances in this battle. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and ignored those flattering people. After he received the imperial edict, The eunuchs smiled flatteringly and said a few words of congratulations before turning to leave the demon Lord Zhen manor. Ling Zhao's gaze was calm and indifferent, but there was a hint of sharpness in it. He scanned the crowd. Those who were invited to watch the ceremony all smiled at Ling Xiao, and some even revealed flattering smiles. The people of the Ling family did not dare to look at Ling Xiao directly. They all averted their eyes with a trace of fear in their eyes. At this moment, Ling Xiao was the new demon Lord Zhen Manor's new master. Everything that happened today was undoubtedly shocking. From Ling Tianxi's display of his powerful talent to Ling Zhao's appearance, Xia Hongxiu's annulment of the engagement, Ling Zhao's suppression of Ling Tianxi, and the Wanshou sect's arrival to denounce him. This series of events was too much for the eyes to take in. In the end, Ling Xiao became the most dazzling genius in the entire royal capital. With the cultivation of the Dragon Tiger realm, he suppressed Shi Tianluo, one of the 7 disciples of the Wanshou sect. This battle strength was simply shocking. However, at the same time, everyone was worried. Facing the Wanshou sect, a holy land of martial arts, how would Ling Xiao face the battle in a month's time? The Wanshou sect's strength was without a doubt. Although Ling Xiao was a genius, he was still young and his cultivation was not high. Everyone suddenly remembered that Ling Xiao was only 16 years old this year. At the age of 16, his brilliance had already illuminated the entire Great Desolation ancient kingdom, making the 5 princes of the royal capital pale in comparison. In the future, he would definitely illuminate the entire 8 Desolation region and become the king of this generation. Everyone took their leave one after another, and the Ling family's martial arts practice field soon became empty. A wave of fragrance wafted over, causing Qingqing's green dress to appear. Her figure was fiery hot, making one's blood boil. She had an exceptional appearance, and her large eyes were bright and resplendent, as if they could drip water from them. Her beautiful eyes glowed as she stared at Ling Xiao and smiled. "Little brother, do you still recognize me?" Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. Seeing that Ling Qingqing's face was very familiar, he remembered that this little witch in front of him had bullied Ling Xiao a lot in the past and was very familiar with him. Because the relationship between the demon monarch and the state preceptor, Ling Juechen, was very good, the 2 families frequently visited each other, and Ling Qingqing often brought Ling Xiao to play. Especially when it was confirmed that Ling Zhao's veins were blocked, and he was unable to cultivate. When everyone distanced themselves from Ling Xiao, only Ling Qingqing stayed by his side. Moreover, she would often beat up those who bullied Ling Xiao, earning herself the title of Little Witch. 3 years had passed, and the 2 of them had grown up. Ling Xiao could still faintly see the shadow of that little witch from back then in Ling Qingqing's stunning appearance. "So it's Sister Qingqing, little brother greets you." Ling Xiao smiled. From Ling Zhao's memories, he felt that Ling Qingqing was one of the few people who brought him much warmth. "Humph, at least you have a conscience and didn't forget me." Ling Qingqing's tender fist punched Ling Zhao's shoulder, and she immediately grinned. Her smile had a soul-stirring beauty that made the heavens and earth lose their color. "Sister, you didn't come to participate in the end-of-year competition today to see me, right?" Ling Xiao smiled and joked. "You're still as shameless as before." Ling Qingqing rolled her eyes and said, 3 years ago, you went to the longevity sect, and I thought I would never see you again. I didn't expect you to come back today. You really gave me a shock. If Uncle Ling knew of your elegance today, I don't know how happy he would be. However, you're still too impulsive in the death match a month later." Ling Qingqing glared at Ling Xiao with dissatisfaction, and there was a faint hint of worry in her eyes. The Myriad Beasts sect is one of the 5 great martial holy lands, and the Myriad Beasts 7 scions are the strongest of the younger generation in the Myriad Beasts sect. They're very powerful. Although you defeated Shi Tianluo, he's only the weakest one. The top few of the Myriad Beasts 7 scions can easily crush him, especially the number 1 of the Myriad Beasts 7 scions, the Dragon Son. He's known as the supreme youth with unparalleled talent, unparalleled combat strength, and unparalleled fortune. If he comes, you'll definitely lose. Ling Xiao smiled and said, "Dragon Son? Sister, aren't you overestimating others and undermining your own prestige? I really want to meet this Dragon Son." You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. When you meet the dragon son, you'll know how terrifying he is. I'll go back and beg Father now and get him to refine some treasured pills for you to raise your cultivation. I hope your cultivation can increase a little as soon as possible. Then I'll get Father to beg His Majesty. You'll be fine after a month, don't worry. You've liked to cause trouble since you were young, and now that you've grown up, you still need Sister to clean up your mess. Alright, I'm leaving. Ling Qingqing glared at Ling Xiao, then turned and floated away. As for the ninth prince, Xia Yunran, Chen Weishan, and the rest, they had no intention of saying goodbye to Ling Xiao and left the Demon King's residence indifferently. In their eyes, Ling Xiao would definitely die after a month. There was no need to waste any more effort. Young friend Ling not only has exceptional talent in the martial Dao, but he also has great attainments in the alchemy Dao. If you have time, you can come visit my elixir pavilion more often. This old man is eager to spar with you in the alchemy Dao. Spiritual Master Chunyang and Master Jiao Mu walked over and smiled at Ling Xiao. The young man in front of him also surprised him. The young Master Ling that Jiao Mu spoke of was indeed not an ordinary person. In particular, Jiao Mu also said that the 5 profound spiritual pills, 6 profound spiritual pills, and 7 profound spiritual pills were all provided by Ling Xiao. This shocked him even more. Many thanks to Spiritual Master for helping me out. If I have time, I'll definitely visit you. Ling Xiao smiled. He was also a little surprised that Spiritual Master Chunyang could come, but this was definitely due to Jiao Mu's efforts. Spiritual Master Chunyang and Ling Xiao exchanged some pleasantries and floated away. Jiao Mu and Ling Xiao looked at each other and smiled. There were too many people at this time, so Jiao Mu didn't say anything. Instead, he led everyone to take care of Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei. The two of them had suffered heavy injuries because of blocking He Qing. At this moment, they were protected by the armored soldiers of Huban camp. Just as Ling Xiao was about to leave, an old voice sounded. "Young Master Ling, my master invites you." Chapter 189. Your master? I don't think that's necessary. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he spoke plainly. He recognized that the old man was the driver of Xia Hongxiu's carriage. However, his cultivation was unfathomable. He was a celestial realm expert. However, Ling Xiao thought that there was no need to see Xia Hongxiu. The old man smiled and said, "Young Master Ling, my master is not Princess Hongxiu. She is a disciple of Sun Moon Star's sect." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the luxurious carriage. He felt that there was another person in the carriage other than Xia Hongxiu. His aura was the same as the one Ling Xiao had seen at the city gate. Alright. Ling Xiao pondered for a moment before nodding in agreement. Sun Moon Star's sect had a deep relationship with Ling Xiao. The person in the carriage was a celestial realm expert. Even in Sun Moon Star's sect, he was probably a pro-disciple since he was a celestial realm expert. "Young Master Ling, please," the old man said with a smile as he led Ling Xiao to the carriage. Xia Hongxiu came out of the carriage and looked at Ling Xiao with a complicated expression. She said, "Go in. Senior sister wants to see you." Now, Xia Hongxiu knew that it was impossible between her and Ling Xiao. The so-called engagement only existed in name, but for some reason she felt an inexplicable sense of panic in her heart. She felt a sense of loss and disappointment. Ling Xiao nodded plainly and walked into the carriage. Behind the curtains, there was a fragrant wind that emitted the fragrance of a young lady. A pair of bright eyes appeared in front of Ling Xiao. It was a pair of cold eyes without any emotions. They were like the full moon in the 9 heavens. Although it could be seen, it gave off a feeling that it was unapproachable. The moon goddess was shrouded in a cold radiance. Her face couldn't be seen clearly, but she had an otherworldly temperament. "You are like a cloud that covers the moon. You are like the snow that flows in the wind. Your skin is like jade and your bones are pure yin. Do you cultivate the true moon skill? It seems that the moon goddess of Sun Moon Star's sect is this generation's moon goddess." Ling Xiao had a strange look in his eyes. He glanced at the moon goddess and smiled. How did young Master Ling know? The moon god's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. Ling Xiao was able to see through her in one glance. This young man was becoming more and more difficult to see through. Furthermore, the premonition in her heart was getting stronger and stronger. Ling Xiao's aura was becoming more and more familiar to her. It's nothing. It's just that I have some connections with the Sun Moon Star sect, so I know a little about your sect's martial arts. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, his eyes clear and bright. Moon God's presence was too cold, and her face was beautiful. Her eyes alone were enough to make the world lose its color. If ordinary people were to sit in front of her, they would not be able to be as calm as Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao was very calm. In his previous life, he had seen countless goddesses and geniuses. Although there weren't many who could compare to Yueshin, there were still some. Origin. The moon god's eyes lit up. She said, "If I may ask, Mr. Ling, how are you related to the Sun Moon Star sect?" To be exact, it's not that I'm related to the Sun Moon Star sect, but the Changsun sect is related to the Sun Moon Star sect. As the moon god of this generation, you should know about the relationship between the Changsun sect and the Sun Moon Star sect, right? Ling Xiao smiled, feeling a little emotional in his heart. The Sun Moon Star sect's ultimate technique was the Sun Moon Star scripture. It was divided into 3 ultimate techniques, namely the True Sun technique, the True Moon technique, and the True Star technique. It was further divided into the True Sun technique, the True Moon technique, and the True Star technique. It was further divided into the True Sun sect, the True Moon sect, and the True Star sect. The moon god in front of him had an extraordinary aura, and her cultivation had reached the heaven realm. Ling Xiao was full of admiration for her. Compared to the Sun Moon Star sect, the Changsun sect was still too weak. The relationship between the Changsun sect and the Sun Moon Star sect? The moon god was slightly taken aback. She said plainly, the Changsun sect was the martial arts holy land 10,000 years ago. They dominated the world and no one dared to disobey their orders. However, 10,000 years have passed and the world has changed. The Changsun sect has also weakened to a small sect. As for the Sun Moon Star sect, it belonged to the Changsun sect 10,000 years ago. At that time, we only received part of the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme. Although we are much weaker now, we are still one of the martial arts holy lands in the 8 Desolates region. The moon god looked at Ling Xiao. Her cold gaze shone as if she wanted to see the depths of Ling Xiao's heart. However, what I don't understand is, the Changsun sect is so weak. How could there be a demon like you? If you are willing, I can recommend you to join the Sun Moon Star sect and become a true disciple of the Sun Moon Star sect. Only then will your talent not be wasted. The founder of the Sun Moon Star sect was called Shang Guanming. 10,000 years ago, he was a demon emperor expert. However, he was later subdued by Ling Xiao. He followed Ling Xiao and obtained the Sun Moon Star scripture from Ling Xiao. He then created the Sun Moon Star sect. Billions of years ago, the Sun Moon Star sect was a vassal sect of the Changsun sect. However, 10,000 years had passed and the Sun Moon Star sect was passed down. Looking at the moon god's true moon skill, most of it was complete. There were not many flaws. However, how could Ling Xiao join the Sun Moon Star sect? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Moon god, you must be joking. I am the saint of the Changsun sect. How could I join the Sun Moon Star sect? Moon god, don't underestimate the Changsun sect. One day, the Changsun sect will rise again and regain the glory from billions of years ago. We will stand at the top of the war god continent. Rise again? Easier said than done. The moon god smiled faintly. She did not agree or disagree. The Changsun sect's inheritance had been cut off. The inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme and the Changsun sect had been lost. It would be too difficult for them to rise again. In her opinion, Ling Xiao had the spirit of a young man. It was good that he wanted to forge ahead, but he did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. The moon god and Ling Xiao exchanged a few more pleasantries. Her eyes were filled with a faint light. It landed on Ling Xiao as she secretly probed. She wanted to find out what the familiar energy wave on Ling Xiao's body was. There were many things that she couldn't understand hidden in this youth's body. Young Master Ling, this is bad. Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi are both dead. Just as the two of them were talking, an old voice rang out, carrying with it a trace of anger. What? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He hurriedly bade farewell to the moon god and jumped off the carriage. Outside, Master Jiaomu was waiting. His face was very ugly, and his eyes were burning with anger. Chapter 190. What's going on? A cold light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. Although Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi weren't important, Ling Yunxiang had some sort of relationship with the underworld. Ling Xiao was prepared to use Ling Yunxiang as a breakthrough point to find the underworld. However, Jiamu came to tell Ling Xiao that Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi were dead. Young Master Ling, it was the underworld. Jiamu's face was also a little ugly. He said slowly, just now, young Master Ling asked us to take care of Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi. We locked them in a room and let the armored soldiers of Hubin camp guard them. Who knew that someone actually wanted to assassinate Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei? Fortunately, Li Ling was there, so the assassin didn't succeed. When Li Ling was chasing after the assassin, a member of the Ling family actually burst out with the battle strength of the Grandmaster realm and killed the guard, as well as Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi. When we arrived, the Ling family clansman had also taken poison and killed himself. We found this on his body. Master Jiamu handed a silver token to Ling Xiao. It was the unique token of the underworld's assassins. Luring the tiger away from the mountain? Good, very good. A cold light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. How could he not see that the so-called assassination of Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei was just to lure Li Ling away? The real target was still Ling Yunxiang. What secrets did Ling Yunxiang have that made the underworld's assassins dare to kill in the Demon King's residence? However, with Ling Yunxiang's death, all of this became a mystery. Ling Xiao and Master Jiamu rushed to the room and saw Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi with their eyes wide open, full of disbelief and anger. They died with remaining grievances. There was also a middle-aged man in a black robe lying in the room. His face was very ordinary, and Ling Xiao didn't recognize him. He might be a member of the Ling family. However, he didn't expect the underworld's assassins to infiltrate the Ling family. Good, very good. The underworld is openly provoking us. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed coldly. Previously, because of Ling Yunxiang, the underworld had already tried to assassinate Ling Xiao 5 times. In other words, as long as Ling Xiao could avoid 4 more assassinations, the underworld would have no choice but to call off the assassination. However, what Ling Xiao couldn't understand was why the underworld still wanted to make a move when Ling Yunxiang, the patron, was already dead. What was the relationship between Ling Yunxiang and the underworld? Not long after, Li Ling also returned, holding a golden token in his hand. The assassin who had assassinated Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei was a gold-ranked assassin, and he had already died at Li Ling's hands. However, when Li Ling heard what happened after he left, he became furious. Holy Sun, these rats hiding in the sewers are too abominable. Don't let me run into them, or I'll kill every single one of them, Li Ling said coldly. He was very annoyed. He never thought that he, a celestial tier elite, would fall for such a simple trick of luring the tiger away from the mountain. Let's put the matter of the underworld aside for now. Ling Xiao said slowly, right now, the underworld is in the dark while we are in the light. If the underworld wants to hide, we won't be able to find them. Right now, the only thing they could do was to remain silent and deal with whatever came their way. But what about hell? I will remember you, and there will be a day when I will make you pay the price. Jiao Mu also took a deep breath and nodded. Jiao Mu, when is the auction that you mentioned to me previously? Are you sure that the yin-yang spiritual seed will appear this time? Ling Xiao asked Master Jiao Mu. Master, the auction at the Great Wilderness Auction House is tomorrow. At that time, the yin-yang spiritual seed will appear. However, there is only one type, and I heard that it is the Grand Yin Divine Essence. Jiao Mu said respectfully. Grand Yin Divine Essence? The heavens are really helping me. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up, revealing a trace of surprise. The Grand Yin Divine Essence was a Yin attribute treasure of high quality. Not only could it be used to refine Dao pills, but it could also be used to refine Dao weapons. It was even more magical for martial artists who cultivated Yin attribute cultivation techniques. Most importantly, if Ling Xiao wanted to cultivate the second level of the heaven-devouring secret skill, he would need the yin-yang spiritual seed. Moreover, Ling Xiao's water dragon body had reached the complete realm. If he wanted to break through to the earth dragon body, he would need some precious treasures. Perhaps he could find them at the Great Wilderness Auction House. Ling Xiao's current cultivation level was still too low. His combat strength was only comparable to Shi Tianluo's. If he did not raise his cultivation level quickly, it would be extremely disadvantageous for him in the life and death duel a month later. The reason why Ling Xiao dared to propose the life and death duel was because he had made breakthroughs in the heaven-devouring secret skill and the ancestral dragon secret skill. As long as he could break through to the second level, his combat strength would skyrocket. The person behind the Grand Wilderness Auction House was the royal family of the Grand Wilderness. Therefore, they were extremely wealthy. Every time they held an auction, many precious treasures would appear. Every time, it would cause a sensation in the entire royal capital. Jiao Mu, try to get as many spiritual stones and spiritual crystals as possible. I must get the Grand Yin Divine Essence in tomorrow's auction. I must not let it fall into the hands of others. Ling Xiao looked at Jiao Mu and said. Master Jiao Mu smiled and said, Master, don't worry. I have already prepared the spiritual stones and spiritual crystals. I will definitely help you get the Grand Yin Divine Essence. As an alchemist, Grandmaster Jiao Mu was rich and overbearing. In addition, during this period of time, Grandmaster Jiao Mu had refined the 5 profound spirit pill, 6 profound spirit pill, and 7 profound treasure pill. The profits he had made were simply astronomical. Therefore, he did not lack spiritual stones and spiritual crystals. Next, Ling Xiao and Master Jiao Mu helped Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei heal their injuries. Although they had been severely injured by He Qing, fortunately, they did not suffer any fatal injuries. In addition, Ling Xiao's sky-devouring secret skill could devour heterogeneous genuine qi. Therefore, Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei's injuries quickly recovered. The Tiger Battalion had left, but Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei simply stayed in the Demon Lord Mansion. At the same time, they brought many elite warriors with them. Ling Xiao did not dare to trust any of the Ling family clansmen. Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei had brought people to watch over them strictly. Master Jiao Mu used the secret mind skill to screen the Ling family clansmen to see if there were any people from the netherworld. In addition, with Li Ling, a great expert in the celestial realm, the entire Demon Lord Mansion was impregnable. After the battle in the Demon Lord Mansion, especially after defeating Shi Tianluo, Ling Xiao's reputation spread throughout the royal capital as if it had grown wings. Suppressing Ling Tianxi, who was at LV1 of the Dragon Tiger realm, with a single punch, was already shocking enough. However, Ling Xiao defeating Shi Tianluo, who was at LV6 of the Grandmaster realm, with a cultivation at LV1 of the Dragon Tiger realm, made everyone feel like they were dreaming. They were dumbfounded and in disbelief. In particular, the young experts in the royal capital all thought that the rumors were too exaggerated. However, when someone discovered that Shi Tianluo was heavily injured and carried back to the inn, the Wanshou sect remained silent and did not have any intention of explaining. Ling Qingqing also personally confirmed that Shi Tianluo was indeed injured by Ling Xiao. Immediately, the entire royal capital began to boil. Chapter 191. A holy land of martial arts like the Wanshou sect had always been a place people looked up to. Any random disciple from there was a monstrous genius. Shi Tianluo was even more monstrous. It was said that he had the bloodline of the heavenly serpent and was one of the 7 disciples of the Wanshou sect. He was quite famous in the 8 Desolates region. Who would have thought that he would be defeated by a young man at the first level of the Dragon Tiger realm? Some of the people in the royal capital were shocked, while others were excited. Especially those martial artists who had been bullied by the Wanshou sect. They all felt proud and elated. However, there were also some who were jealous and malicious. What's there to be arrogant about? No matter how strong Ling Xiao's cultivation is, He will definitely die in the life and death duel in a month's time. That's right. If the dragon son of the Wanshou sect comes, Ling Xiao will definitely die. Someone sneered, causing the crowd to fall silent. Ling Xiao was still too young. He had killed a disciple of the Wanshou sect, injured Shitian Luo, and offended a holy land of martial arts like the Wanshou sect. The Wanshou sect would definitely not let him go. A month's time would probably be the day this young man would die. Even those who thought highly of Ling Xiao could not help but worry at this moment. How was Ling Xiao supposed to face this battle of life and death? In the inn of the Wanshou sect, many disciples of the Wanshou sect were indignant, their eyes filled with coldness. Shitian Luo had also woken up. However, he seemed to have suffered a huge blow. He sat there with a pale face and stared blankly at the void in the distance. He Qing sat high above, but his brows were tightly knitted. The atmosphere was extremely tense. Elder He, can't we just wait like this? Ling Xiao, that little bastard, deserves to die. I don't want him to live for even a moment. A female disciple with a charming face and a hot body said through gritted teeth. She looked at Shitian Luo with admiration. Ling Xiao had defeated Shitian Luo. Seeing that Shitian Luo had suffered such a huge blow, she was also furious. Elder, why don't we take advantage of the night and slaughter that brat Ling Xiao? The disciples of the Wanshou sect were all filled with righteous indignation. No matter where the disciples of the Wanshou sect went, they were respected and revered, their status and honor were even higher than that of a prince. However, Ling Xiao had not only killed Shi Wuxin and defeated Shitian Luo, he had even forced He Qing to compromise. All the disciples of the Wanshou sect felt extremely humiliated. How is that possible? He Qing sneered and said, killing my Wanshou sect's disciple is equivalent to slapping my Wanshou sect's face. This little bastard is simply courting death. However, even if we want to kill him, we can't do it ourselves. Right now, the capital is in a state of chaos. Before the sect's experts arrive, we must keep a low profile and not leave any clues for others to use against us. However, just because we can't do it doesn't mean that we can't find someone else to do it. I will contact the underworld and tell them to kill Ling Xiao at all costs within this month. I want that little bastard to be tortured to death in fear. All right, let those guys from the underworld deal with Ling Xiao. We must kill him. Kill Ling Xiao and avenge senior brother Wuxin. Many disciples of the Wanshou sect gritted their teeth and said. However, what they did not realize was that there was a black vortex surging in Shitian Luo's eyes. It was cold and evil, as if it wanted to devour everything in the world. A ferocious aura slowly spread out from Shitian Luo's body. A cold roar exploded, and a giant black snake seemed to appear behind Shitian Luo. It was shrouded in a hazy, chaotic aura. It roared in the sky, and its eyes were like blood moons, causing people to tremble in fear. At this moment, Shitian Luo actually floated up and emitted a chilling aura that caused people's hearts to palpitate. This is the aura of the heavenly snake bloodline completely awakened? Great, this is great. He Qing's eyes widened in shock, and then he revealed an expression of extreme joy. Although Shitian Luo previously possessed the heavenly snake bloodline, the heavenly snake bloodline had not completely awakened, so the effect on Shitian Luo was very small. He did not expect that after this blow, Shitian Luo would actually completely awaken the heavenly snake bloodline. After awakening the heavenly snake bloodline, Shitian Luo's aptitude had completely changed from being a demon to having the aptitude of a king. Regardless of whether it was cultivation or combat strength, it was greatly enhanced. If Shitian Luo had completely awakened the heavenly snake bloodline previously, it would be hard to say who would have won the battle with Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, Ling Xiao, Ling Xiao, Ling Xiao. Shitian Luo's gaze was as cold as a venomous snake's as he muttered Ling Xiao's name. His voice was chilling and filled with bone-deep hatred and murderous intent. Ling Xiao was not aware of the storm in the capital, but even if he knew, he would not have cared. After a night of cultivation, some of the injuries in Ling Xiao's body had completely healed. His cultivation had also stopped at the peak of level 1 Dragon Tiger realm, and he was only one step away from level 2 Dragon Tiger realm. When the golden sunlight shone on the ground, Ling Xiao woke up from his cultivation state. Master Jiao Mu was already waiting outside. That was because today was the day of the auction at the Grand Baron Auction House. The Grand Baron Auction House would hold an auction every month, and at the end of every year, there would be a large-scale auction. At the auction, there would be countless treasures of heaven and earth, martial arts secret skills, spiritual pills, spiritual weapons, and so on. It was a carnival for all the big families in the capital. Every time it happened, the royal family of the Grand Baron Auction House would also make a fortune. Ling Xiao brought Master Jiao Mu out of the Demon Lord's residence. Bathed in the golden sunlight, they walked along the wide street and headed towards the Grand Baron Auction House. As for Li Ling, Ling Xiao had left him behind to protect Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei. After all, their injuries had not healed, and there were people from the underworld spying on them. Ling Xiao was not at ease. With Li Ling around, there would be no danger. The Grand Baron Auction House was located on the west side of the capital, and the Demon Lord's residence was on the left and right respectively. They were the two biggest buildings closest to the capital. One could also see the importance of the Grand Baron Auction House from its location. The entrance of the Grand Baron Auction House looked very grand. There were 8 huge stone lions in 2 rows at the entrance. They looked very lifelike and emitted a murderous aura. Outside the door, there were dozens of tall and sturdy men wearing black heavy armor and holding large axes. Each of them was over 2 meters tall and had extremely powerful blood and chi. Their cold and sharp eyes swept across the crowd, causing everyone to tremble in fear. These dozens of burly men in black heavy armor were the elites of the royal guards. They were at least in the Dragon Tiger realm. With them around, no one dared to cause trouble at the Grand Baron Auction House. Therefore, the Grand Baron Auction House was also the most reputable and safest auction house. Naturally, it attracted the attention of countless people. Chapter 192. Ling Xiao. A crisp voice came from behind. Ling Xiao turned around and saw Ling Qingqing, who was smiling like a flower. Ling Qingqing had changed into a red dress today. Her skin was as white as jade, and her black hair was like a waterfall. It was thick and shiny. As she stood there, her appearance was exquisite, beautiful, and otherworldly. Her entire being emitted an otherworldly aura. "Sister Qingqing, why are you here?" Ling Xiao asked with a smile. "Of course I'm here for today's auction." Ling Qingqing walked up to Ling Xiao. She was tall, with round and slender legs. Her breasts were high, and she exuded a faint virgin fragrance that made people blush. "I heard that there will be many precious spiritual medicines at the Grand Wilderness Auction House today. I'm here on behalf of my father. Also, I heard that there will be a secret technique for cultivating spiritual force in this auction. This time, I must get it for father." Ling Qingqing lowered her voice, her eyes full of anticipation. If Lord Grand Tutor needed any spiritual medicine, the royal family of the Grand Wilderness would have sent it over long ago. "Do you need to come to the auction personally? The secret skill to cultivate spiritual strength you mentioned, is it the minor soul refining technique?" Ling Zhao's gaze was a little strange. He exchanged glances with Master Jiamu, and they both held back their laughter. That was because Ling Xiao had asked Master Jiamu to auction the minor soul refining technique. A secret skill to increase spiritual strength like the minor soul refining technique was rare even in the entire 8 Desolates region. Once those alchemists knew about it, they would definitely fight for it with all their might. Moreover, the minor soul refining technique could only increase the spiritual strength of an alchemist. It was not a great secret skill to Ling Xiao. He had taken it out for auction just in case. After all, the divine Yin essence was too precious. If it were an ordinary spiritual medicine, I wouldn't have to come personally. But many treasures at the Grand Wilderness Auction House are consigned by others. I heard that there will be a 3-leaf resurrection grass this time. This is one of the main ingredients for my father's resurrection elixir. I must get it." Ling Qingqing lowered her voice and said with a smile, "The supreme grade resurrection elixir? It said that it can help an expert at the 9th level of the sky-human realm to break through the bottleneck and enter the noble realm. But is your father sure he can refine the resurrection elixir? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he asked in surprise. After all, Ling Juchen was only a high-grade alchemy grandmaster. If he wanted to refine a peerless-grade treasure pill, it would be beyond his ability. Xiao, you also know that the minor soul refining technique is going to be auctioned. That secret technique was the minor soul refining art. And is the key to my father. Soul refining technique. Soul. The interior of the Grand Desolation Auction House was a huge crystal hall. It had a circumference of over 1,000 feet and a height of over 100 feet. It was dazzling and magnificent. There were many booths in the crystal hall. Colorful spirit weapons, precious spirit herbs, and strange ores were displayed on the booths. Many people stopped in their tracks, attracted by the spirit weapons and elixirs. This is the outer area of the auction. Those who don't have the qualifications to enter the auction can sell things here. But most of the things here are junk. There are very few treasures. However, there are some people who have good foresight and found some precious treasures here. Ling Qingqing naturally became the guide and introduced the auction to Ling Xiao. Oh, so that's how it is. Ling Xiao nodded. From his point of view, many of the items on the display stand looked ancient and mottled, as if they were old objects from a long time ago. However, many of them had been disguised to deceive those spendthrifts. Those who didn't know anything would probably spend a large sum of money to buy some useless junk after being tricked by those people with flowery words. Ling Qingqing and Ling Xiao stood side by side. Master Jiao Mu followed behind and walked around the hall. Ling Qingqing's peerless beauty quickly attracted the attention of the crowd. Many young people's gazes began to burn. Qingqing, it's you? At this moment, a handsome young man in a black robe with an outstanding temperament walked over. His eyes were filled with surprise. The young man was tall and slender. His black hair hung loosely behind his head. His face was handsome, but his eyes were somewhat gloomy. Moreover, there were traces of light flickering in them, making people feel uncomfortable. Chen Fengdao? Why are you here? Ling Qingqing frowned, and a trace of disgust appeared in her eyes. Qingqing, of course I'm here to participate in the auction. I didn't expect to see you here. That's great. Chen Fengdao walked toward Ling Qingqing. His eyes were filled with passion and adoration. Chen Fengdao? Could he be Chen Weishan's son, Chen Fengdao, one of the 5 young masters of the capital? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he thought to himself. The young man in front of him had an outstanding temperament and a tall figure. His cultivation had already reached the 2nd level of the Grandmaster realm. In the entire capital, the only person who could reach the Grandmaster realm at such a young age was probably Chen Fengdao. However, it seemed that Chen Fengdao was interested in Ling Qingqing. A trace of playfulness appeared in Ling Zhao's eyes. Young man, move aside. Chen Fengdao said plainly as he saw Ling Xiao standing beside Ling Qingqing. His eyes revealed a trace of gloominess. Ling Xiao glanced at Chen Fengdao indifferently. He didn't say anything, but he didn't move aside either. Young man, I asked you to move aside. Didn't you hear me? Chen Fengdao's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. The powerful aura of the Grandmaster realm suppressed Ling Xiao. Ling Zhao's face was handsome, and his temperament was otherworldly. His clothes were whiter than snow, and he looked very compatible with Ling Qingqing. However, Chen Fengdao was unhappy. Ling Xiao looked like a young man at the 1st level of the Dragon Tiger realm. What right did he have to stand beside Ling Qingqing? Ridiculous! Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His gaze was calm as he grabbed Ling Qingqing's hand. It felt soft and boneless, as gentle as jade. It had a touch that made one's heart flutter. Sister Qingqing, let's go. Ling Xiao pulled Ling Qingqing and was about to walk away. Ling Qingqing blushed slightly. She didn't say a word and followed Ling Xiao obediently. Young man, you're courting death. Ling Zhao's actions completely infuriated Chen Fengdao. Chen Fengdao's eyes revealed a trace of gloominess. He stretched out his hand to grab Ling Xiao. His fingers emitted a faint black light that was as sharp as a finger blade. If a person at the first level of the Dragon Tiger realm was caught by Chen Fengdao, not only would he be unable to break free, but he would also be in great pain. Chapter 193. Ling Zhao's expression didn't change when he felt the sharp wind behind him. However, there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Clang. Ling Zhao's body emitted traces of golden light, and the sound of metal clashing rang out. Chen Fengdao felt as if he had grabbed onto a metal plate, and his expression instantly changed. Boom! Before Chen Fengdao could react, a surge of divine power came from Ling Zhao's body, causing Chen Fengdao's arm to go numb. He took a dozen steps back before he could stabilize himself. Who are you? Chen Fengdao's eyes were filled with both shock and anger. He felt the blood in his body churning, and his expression was extremely ugly. In that instant, Chen Fengdao felt as if he wasn't facing a human, but a primordial ferocious beast with monstrous blood. He couldn't help but feel his heart palpitate. Stay away from Sister Qingqing in the future. She doesn't like you. Ling Xiao glanced at Chen Fengdao indifferently. Perhaps in the eyes of others, the royal capital's 5 princes were the elites of the younger generation of the Great Desolation ancient kingdom, and their futures were limitless. However, in Ling Zhao's eyes, they were just associates. Even Shi Tianluo was defeated by him, so what was the royal capital's 5 princes? You're Ling Xiao? Chen Fengdao's eyes suddenly trembled, as if he had thought of something. He revealed an extremely shocked expression. In the entire royal capital, Ling Xiao was the only one in the Dragon Tiger realm who could push him back so easily and was only 15 or 16 years old. Although it had only happened yesterday, Ling Zhao's name had already spread throughout the royal capital. Although Chen Fengdao wasn't present at the scene, he still knew Ling Zhao's name. This was a youth who could even suppress Shi Tianluo. No matter how talented Chen Fengdao was, he was still far from being comparable to Shi Tianluo. Chen Fengdao's heart was instantly filled with dread. Ling Xiao, don't be too arrogant. I have the freedom to like whoever I like. It's none of your business. Take care of yourself first. In a month, I'll be there and personally witness you being suppressed by the Wanshou sect. Chen Fengdao sneered and turned to leave. That bastard. Ling Xiao, you should teach him a good lesson. This caused Qingqing to stomp her feet in anger. This Chen Fengdao had always been arrogant and condescending. Now that he'd lost face at Ling Zhao's hands, he didn't lower his head and didn't forget to leave behind some harsh words before leaving. It doesn't matter, why lower yourself to his level? Since he said so, if I don't give him a surprise a month later, I'll be letting him down. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, his expression calm. The most important thing for Ling Xiao to do now was to increase his own strength. Everything else was just a side issue that he didn't need to care about. Facing a colossus like the Wanshou sect, Ling Xiao felt no fear in his heart, only a strong desire to fight. Alright, he really got off easy. Ling Xiao, the auction is about to begin. Let's go in quickly. Ling Qingqing nodded and said, Alright. Ling Xiao followed Ling Qingqing to the auction site. However, when his gaze swept past one of the booths, his eyes lit up, and he stopped in his tracks. Sister Qingqing, wait for me. Ling Xiao walked towards the booths. The owner of the booths was a middle-aged man with shifty eyes. He looked very shrewd, and when he saw Ling Xiao coming over, he immediately became spirited and began to introduce the items eloquently. Young master, what I have here are all old objects. I found them in an ancient ruin. They were left behind by the supreme being experts during the ancient times. Look at this short sword, although it's rusty, if the seal can be removed, it'll be a powerful Taoist weapon. And this bead, it can expel inner demons, absorb the essence of heaven and earth, and help cultivators break through to the next realm. And this dagger. Ling Zhao's gaze swept across the items on the booths. There were broken swords, blades, ancient jade bottles, pill cauldrons, Buddha statues, and other old items. However, with Ling Zhao's eyes, he could tell at a glance that most of them had been modified later on. How much is this hairpin? Ling Xiao picked up a black hairpin on the booths. It was rusty, and he could vaguely make out the pattern of a phoenix. Young master, you have good eyes. This hairpin is a treasure that I found in the tomb of a supreme expert. It's at least a Taoist weapon, but there's a seal on it that I can't remove. So, I'll sell it to you at a cheaper price, 5,000, no, 50,000 peerless spirit stones. The shifty-eyed middle-aged man's eyes flashed as he hurriedly said with a smile, Zhang Yi, are you crazy for spirit stones? You actually dared to deceive this great aunt? Do you believe that I won't tear down your booths? Ling Qingqing ran over angrily and scolded the middle-aged man. Then, he glanced at Ling Xiao and said with a bitter smile, Ling Xiao, this Zhang Yi likes to rob tombs the most. He takes some ordinary old objects from tombs and sells them. He's very famous in the entire Grand Wasteland auction house. However, most of the things in his hands are very ordinary. Don't be fooled by him. As soon as Zhang Yi saw Ling Qingqing, he shrank back and cried out, Miss Qingqing, even if you don't want to buy it, you can't slander me. Who doesn't know my reputation? I've never had any fake items here, and they're all taken out from tombs. These are all genuine old items, and I only asked for 50,000 peerless spirit stones. If it's really a Taoist weapon, it's worth 100 or 1,000 times more. Sister Qingqing, it's fine. I'm just buying it for fun. Ling Xiao smiled, then glanced at Zhang Yi and said, Your hairpin looks very strange, but don't treat me like a fool. What do you think? Sell this hairpin to me and let me pick something from your booths. I'll give you 10,000 peerless spirit stones. What do you think? Zhang Yi's face immediately revealed a difficult expression. Young master, this hairpin of mine is really an old item. It's very likely that it's a Taoist weapon that's been sealed. 10,000 peerless spirit stones is too little. Why don't you add a little more? Zhang Yi, don't go too far. Ling Qingqing immediately frowned and pointed at Zhang Yi as she shouted. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Since you're so insincere, then forget it. Ling Xiao put down the hairpin and turned to leave. Zhang Yi panicked. Young master, don't go. Since you like this hairpin so much, I'll reluctantly part with it and sell it to you. You can pick any one of the items on this stage. Just treat it as me, old Zhang, making friends with you. Zhang Yi hurriedly stopped Ling Xiao and laughed bitterly. However, he was overjoyed. Everything on the booths was not even worth 10,000 peerless spirit stones. This young man was definitely a fool. He had struck it rich today. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He casually picked up a 3-inch tall bronze Buddha statue and said, This is it. All right, young master, I'll wrap it up for you. Zhang Yi glanced at the bronze Buddha statue and didn't think much of it. He wrapped it up and passed it to Zhang Yi. Grandmaster Jiao Mu took it and passed it to Zhang Yi. Although Master Jiao Mu was puzzled as to why Ling Xiao would spend 10,000 peerless spirit stones on 2 pieces of junk, he did not ask. He believed that no matter what his master did, he had a reason. Chapter 194. Ling Zhao's real target wasn't the hairpin, but the bronze Buddha statue. He didn't buy the bronze Buddha statue directly because he didn't want to stir up trouble. Hence, he took a step back and bought the 2 items for 10,000 peerless spirit stones. When he was in the ferocious Beast Mountain range, Ling Xiao killed an assassin from the underworld and obtained a mysterious animal skin map. Today, he actually felt the same aura from the bronze Buddha statue as that animal skin map. Although it was weak, the aura was exactly the same. Hence, Ling Xiao bought the bronze Buddha statue. Ling Xiao, do you have too many spirit stones to spend? This broken hairpin and bronze Buddha statue are worth at most 100 peerless spirit stones. How could you give Zhang Yi 10,000 peerless spirit stones? You must have been cheated. Ling Qingqing said indignantly as she walked. Sister Qingqing, you don't know this. I wasn't cheated. There's something special about this hairpin. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said confidently. There's something special about it? This hairpin looks very ordinary. Why can't I see it? Ling Qingqing took the hairpin suspiciously and examined it carefully. She even injected her true energy into it, but there was no reaction at all. There are too many people here, so it's inconvenient. You'll know later, Sister Qingqing. Ling Xiao kept her in suspense and smiled faintly. At the back of the crystal hall, there were more than a dozen black-armored generals with sharp eyes. Each of them had a murderous aura and their eyes were like torches. When Ling Xiao and Ling Qingqing walked over, more than a dozen pairs of eyes landed on them. They were sharp and cold, and they only looked away after a while. After they checked the invitation letters in Ling Qingqing, Ling Xiao, and Grandmaster Jiamu's hands, they let them in. The Great Wilderness Auction House was heavily guarded. It was impossible for ordinary people to cause trouble here. The powerful deterrence of martial arts also won the Great Wilderness Auction House a good reputation. The auction house was very spacious and could accommodate more than 1,000 people. There were more than a dozen private rooms at the top, which were specially reserved for distinguished people. Young Master Ling were in the 9th private room. Master Jiamu said as he led Ling Xiao and Ling Qingqing into box 9. The walls of the box were made of transparent glass. From the box, one could clearly see the situation in the center of the auction hall. However, from the outside, one couldn't see the people inside the box. There were already 2 beautiful maids waiting at the door of the room. Both of them had delicate figures and exquisite curves. They wore thin gauze, and their snow-white skin was faintly discernible, causing one's imagination to run wild. The 2 maids welcomed Ling Xiao and the others in and knelt on the ground obediently. They poured tea and cut fruits for Ling Xiao and the others, revealing a hint of shyness as if they were waiting to be enjoyed. What? You like them? Ling Qingqing glanced at Ling Xiao with a faint smile. How is that possible? I was just lamenting the fact that the Grand Desolation Auction House has such a huge background, but I didn't expect their service to be so good as well. Ling Xiao stared blankly for a moment before he put on a serious expression and refused to admit it. I don't think you have the guts to do so. All of you can leave. I don't need you to serve me here. Ling Qingqing waved her sleeves, and the 2 maids were momentarily stunned. There was some disappointment in their eyes, but they still obediently bowed and turned to leave. Ling Xiao and Master Jiamu looked at each other and smiled bitterly. Why was Ling Qingqing being jealous? Ling Xiao, there's no one here now. Quickly tell me, what's with that hairpin? Ling Qingqing immediately smiled, and her eyes were filled with curiosity. Sister Qingqing, look. It's time to witness a miracle. Ling Xiao smiled and took out the hairpin. There was a flash of light in his palm, and immediately, a 5-colored flame rose up, blazing and bright. Boom! As the 5-colored flame burned, the mottled rust on the hairpin slowly began to melt, gradually revealing a scarlet glow. Buzz! The hairpin began to tremble slightly. When all the rust was peeled off, it immediately revealed a hairpin that was as red as jade and embroidered with the image of a phoenix. A faint scarlet glow lingered around it, and the phoenix seemed to come to life. The hairpin now looked completely different from before. It was crystal clear and dazzling, and there were traces of powerful spirituality emanating from it. This is a high-grade precious artifact? Feeling the aura emitted by the hairpin, Ling Qingqing's eyes suddenly shook, revealing a trace of disbelief. Ling Xiao, how did you do it? It's such a simple method. That Zhang Ye is the most cunning, but he didn't see through it? Ling Qingqing's face was full of surprise. Of course he didn't see through it. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. This hairpin was originally a powerful Taoist artifact, but after countless years, its spirituality has deteriorated and the spiritual inscriptions have been obliterated. Now, it only has the power of a high-grade precious artifact. There is indeed a seal on this hairpin that can only be unsealed with the power of the primordial fire of heaven and earth. Although Zhang Ye is very shrewd, he didn't know this, so he missed out on the treasure. If Zhang Ye knew that he had sold a high-grade precious artifact, he would be so angry that he would vomit 3 liters of blood. A high-grade precious artifact could only be fully unleashed by a master of the celestial being realm or even a master of the Grandmaster realm. Its power was unparalleled. How could it be bought with a mere 10,000 spiritual stones? Zhang Ye thought that he had taken advantage of it, but the one who took advantage of it is you. Ling Qingqing sighed. Sister Qingqing, although this hairpin is only a high-grade Taoist artifact, it can gather the spiritual qi of heaven and earth to increase the speed of cultivation. Moreover, it can store the primordial fire of heaven and earth to unleash an attack comparable to a level 9 master of the Grandmaster realm. It's just right for you. Ling Xiao smiled and approached Ling Qingqing. He stretched out his hand and inserted the hairpin into Ling Qingqing's hair. The fragrance of a young girl wafted into Ling Qingqing's nostrils. Ling Qingqing was stunned for a moment, and her face turned red instantly. Ling Xiao was very close to her, and she could feel the strong masculine aura from Ling Xiao's body. Her heart could not help but beat wildly. This hairpin is too valuable. I can't accept it. Ling Qingqing calmed herself down. Although she liked the hairpin very much, she still said it seriously. Elder sister Qingqing, with our relationship, what does a mere phoenix hairpin count for? Moreover, this is obviously a woman's item. If you don't want it, I'll give it to the maid outside. Ling Xiao smiled and said, You dare? Ling Qingqing raised her eyebrows and glared at Ling Xiao. Then she burst into laughter. All right, since little brother is so considerate, I'll accept it. In the future, if you get into any trouble in the capital, just mention my name. Chapter 195. Ling Xiao smiled. The phoenix hairpin wasn't the most precious item on Zhang Ye's stand. The most precious item was the bronze Buddha statue. Ling Xiao found a piece of animal skin map in the bronze Buddha statue. It was very similar to the one he had obtained in the fearsome Beast Mountain range. Ling Xiao had a faint feeling that when all the maps were collected, it was very likely that something unexpected would happen. Ling Xiao, the auction is about to begin. Ling Qingqing's eyes lit up as she pointed outside the box. In the middle of the auction hall, a white-haired old man walked up. His face was ruddy and he looked hale and hearty. His cultivation had reached level 9 of the Grandmaster realm. He is Xiare, an elder of the Xia family. Although the Xia family is a royal family, they are also the largest family in the great wilderness ancient country. They have a strong foundation. Ling Qingqing pointed at the old man and introduced him to Ling Xiao. Xia Rui exuded a powerful aura and the noisy hall quietened down. Everyone's eyes fell on Xia Rui. Xia Rui smiled and cupped his hands towards the crowd. Welcome everyone to the Grand Desolation Auction House's auction. As an annual large-scale auction, the Grand Desolation Auction House has meticulously prepared many precious treasures. I believe it will not disappoint everyone. All right, without further ado, let's bring out the first item. A pretty maid in a red dress walked up with a milky white jade box in her hands. There was a faint halo around it. The jade box was gently opened and a night luminescent pearl the size of a longan was revealed. It was as white as the moonlight and was full of spiritual energy. The deep-sea luminescent pearl was obtained by a sky-human realm expert after killing a rank 6 deep-sea clam demon. It can be used to clear one's heart and clear one's eyes. It can also gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and increase one's cultivation speed by 20%. It is an excellent cultivation aid. The starting price is 10,000 Supreme Grade Spirit Stones. Each bid must be at least 1,000 Supreme Grade Spirit Stones. Now, please make your bids. Xiare said with a smile. Everyone's eyes fell on the deep-sea luminescent pearl and they were pleasantly surprised. This was a treasure from a rank 6 demonic beast. No one had expected such a treasure to appear at the beginning of the auction. Many people's eyes were filled with desire. In particular, the eyes of many female martial artists, officials, and noblewomen all shined. Towards these sparkling jewels, none of them had any resistance. Even Ling Qingqing's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. I'll offer 10,000 Peerless Spirit Stones. 15,000. 20,000. Almost as soon as Xiaorei's voice fell, people began to scramble to bid. The entire hall was buzzing with activity. A single deep-sea luminous pearl would instantly make the auction extremely lively. Sister Qingqing, do you really like this deep-sea luminous pearl? Why don't I buy it and give it to you? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ling Qingqing rolled her eyes at him and said, You have so many spirit stones. Although this deep-sea luminous pearl is not bad, it is far inferior to the phoenix hairpin you gave me. The phoenix hairpin could increase one's cultivation speed by 50%, And it was a defensive treasure. Don't bid recklessly. The extreme in divine essence isn't cheap. I heard that the moon god is here for it. The moon god? Ling Zhao's eyes lit up. The moon god had the extreme in body. If she could obtain the extreme in divine essence, it would naturally be beneficial to her cultivation. However, the extreme in divine essence was the key to Ling Zhao's heaven-devouring secret skill. He did not intend to give it to anyone. Not even the moon god. When the price of the deep-sea luminous pearl rose to 200,000 peerless spirit stones, the number of people bidding gradually decreased. In the end, the deep-sea night illumination pearl was sold to a plump man dressed in luxurious robes for 21 pinnacle spirit stones. He passed it over to a charming lady beside him, and the lady hugged it tightly in her embrace with an excited look on her face. In box number 13, a black-robed middle-aged man said respectfully to Chen Fengdao, "Young master, I've already investigated it." That brat and Miss Qing Qing entered box number 9. The old man following them is Master Jiao Mu. Master Jiao Mu? Chen Fengdao turned around, a trace of shock in his eyes. What's the relationship between Ling Xiao and Master Jiao Mu? How can he participate in the auction with Master Jiao Mu? However, since he dares to offend me, Chen Fengdao, I won't let him get anything today. When Ling Xiao calls out a price later, raise the price for me. Don't let him get a single item. A trace of hesitation appeared in the middle-aged man's eyes. Young master, won't this offend Master Jiao Mu? Master Jiao Mu? Someone will deal with him. He won't be able to live for long. Chen Fengdao sneered. In box number 3, He Qing and a few other disciples of the Myriad Beasts sect were seated. Elder He, there is indeed a mental energy secret skill being auctioned this time. It's called the minor soul refining technique. However, the person who sent it to the auction is very mysterious. Very good. Our target this time is the minor soul refining technique. This kind of mental energy secret skill must not fall into the hands of Sun Moon Star. He Qing's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. Yes, Elder He. Ling Xiao is also here this time. He's in box number 9. I think he wants to buy some treasures to raise his cultivation. It seems like he's afraid of the life and death battle in a month's time. The disciple who spoke sneered. Ling Xiao? He's just a grasshopper after autumn. He won't be able to jump around for more than a few days. However, pay attention later. As long as Ling Xiao wants to bid for an item, raise the price. I want him to get nothing. A cold glint flashed across He Qing's eyes. The next item is a mid-grade weapon made by a profound weapon grandmaster, the Greedy Wolf Saber. I don't need to say much about the profound weapon grandmaster. Everyone knows that he's the only high-grade weapon grandmaster in the Great Wilderness Ancient Kingdom. The starting price of the Greedy Wolf Saber is 90,000 peerless grade spiritual stones. Each bid must be at least 1,000 peerless grade spiritual stones. The bidding starts now. Xia Rui's voice rang out. A pretty maid walked up with a pitch-black saber. The saber was 5 feet long and was as black as ink. The blade shone with a cold light. There were serrated edges and a blood groove on the blade. A strong murderous aura emanated from the saber. Many martial artists' eyes lit up when they saw the saber. The work of a profound weapon grandmaster was something that could only be obtained by chance. Furthermore, the Greedy Wolf Saber looked so domineering. It was a weapon that every man dreamed of. 110,000. 110,000. You want to buy the work of a profound weapon grandmaster? You must be dreaming. I'll bid 200,000. 250,000. Bids rang out one after another, and it did not take long for the price of the blade of the voracious wolf to be raised to 500,000 pinnacle spirit stones. The profound weapon grandmaster was too famous. The weapons that he made were all of the best quality. However, due to his eccentric temperament and excessive desire for perfection, there weren't many weapons in the market. In the end, the Greedy Wolf Saber was won by a level 7 grandmaster for 820,000 peerless grade spiritual stones. It's Commander Li Kuei from the Royal Guards. I heard that he's a subordinate of the first prince, Xia Yunjia. With the Greedy Wolf Saber, he's like a tiger that has grown wings. Someone cried out in shock, as he had recognized the burly man clad in armor who had won the blade of greedy wolf. The next item is a low-grade weapon, the heavy mysterious battle armor. Chapter 196. The auction went on like a raging fire. Treasures were presented one after another, causing the crowd to scramble for them. Powerful weapons, elixirs, and some precious treasures were too much for the crowd to take in. Many people were willing to throw in $1 million. Through this auction, one could see how wealthy the royal capital was. After all, it was difficult for the Changsan sect to take out $1 million top-grade spirit stones. In this auction, many of the treasures were worth more than $1 million top-grade spirit stones. Ling Xiao also made a few bids. He took a fancy to a few elixirs, but in the end, he gave up because the price was too high. Young Master Ling, it seems like we're being targeted. As long as we bid, the 3rd and 13th rooms will raise the price crazily. Even if it exceeds the value of the items, they'll still try to get it. Master Jiao Mu said slowly with an ugly expression. Bastard! Who's targeting us? The 3rd room is so high up in the rankings. Could it be a prince? Ling Qingqing was also indignant. The elixirs that Ling Xiao took a fancy to were not expensive, but in the end, the people in the 2 rooms raised the price very high. The people in the rooms could not be seen from the outside, so Ling Qingqing and Master Jiao Mu did not know who was in the 2 rooms. Ling Zhao's closed eyes opened, revealing a trace of coldness in them. He used a secret spiritual technique and easily sensed that the person in the 13th room was Chen Fengdao. The aura in the 3rd room was very familiar. It was He Qing and the people from the Wanshou sect. In this case, it was easy to imagine why they were targeting him. Chen Fengdao might be because of Ling Qingqing, and He Qing deliberately did not want Ling Xiao to obtain any treasures that could increase his cultivation. The 3rd room is He Qing and the disciples from the Wanshou sect. The 13th room is Chen Fengdao. Ling Xiao said indifferently, his voice incomparably calm. What? It's them? Ling Qingqing's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of seriousness. Chen Fengdao was one thing, but if He Qing and the Myriad Beasts sect's disciples wanted to target Ling Xiao might not be able to buy anything. After all, in terms of wealth, He Qing had the backing of the Myriad Beasts sect, which was not something Ling Xiao could compare with. The Wanshou sect has gone too far. They don't want us to capture anything. Young Master Ling, what should we do now? If they also compete for the extreme Yin divine essence at all costs, we won't be able to compete with the Wanshou sect. Master Jiao Mu's expression was somewhat ugly, and his eyes revealed a trace of anger. It doesn't matter. Since they want to play, I'll play with them. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. In private room number 3. Elder Crane is still the wisest one. Ling Xiao will definitely fly into a rage now that we've snatched these spirit herbs. Just think about it, his face must be very ugly right now. This is so satisfying. A disciple of the Wanshou sect laughed loudly. That's right. Ling Xiao still wanted to bid for treasures from the auction? You must be dreaming. The disciples of the Wanshou sect all sneered coldly. That's nothing. Next, pay attention. As long as Ling Xiao wants to bid for treasures, snatch them back for me. Elder Crane smiled faintly, and his voice was extremely cold. The next item is a dragon tiger pill. Xia Rui's voice rang out in the auction hall. This dragon tiger pill was found in an ancient relic. Its medicinal effects are well preserved, and it is an upper-grade pill. It can unconditionally increase a dragon tiger realm elite's cultivation by 3 levels. As the maidservant opened the jade box, a pale golden pill appeared in front of everyone. A rich medicinal fragrance filled the air, causing the spirits of everyone in the hall to shake. The medicinal fragrance slowly rose, and the illusory image of a dragon and tiger appeared in the air. It was extremely mysterious. As soon as Xiara finished speaking, the eyes of everyone in the hall lit up, and their breathing quickened. Top-grade treasure pills, moreover, they were treasure pills from ancient times. They were too rare and often contained incomparably miraculous medicinal effects. As for a dragon tiger pill that could unconditionally increase a dragon tiger realm's cultivation by 3 levels, many martial artists in the dragon tiger realm began to get excited. The starting price is 100,000 peerless spiritual stones, and each increment must be at least 1,000 peerless spiritual stones. Everyone, please start bidding, Xia Rui said with a smile, and there was a hint of pride in his eyes. He knew that once the dragon tiger pill appeared, there would be a fierce battle, and countless people would fight for it. Dragon tiger pill? Young Master Ling, the heavens are on your side. If you can get the dragon tiger pill and increase your cultivation by 3 levels, you will have more confidence in the life and death battle a month later. You must get it. That's right. Brother, if anyone dares to fight with you this time, I won't let him off. You must get the dragon tiger pill. Master Jiao Mu and Ling Qingqing's eyes lit up, and they began to get excited. In private room number 3, He Qing's eyes flashed, and he said coldly, "You must not let Ling Xiao get the dragon tiger pill. No matter the cost, you must get it for me." In private room number 13, Chen Fengdao's eyes also revealed a hint of coldness. Dragon tiger pill, huh? I believe Ling Xiao is starting to go crazy, right? But I won't let you get what you want. Increase the price as much as you can. In the hall, people began to bid. It started from 100,000 peerless spiritual stones, and it soared all the way to 500,000 peerless spiritual stones. Ling Xiao stared at the dragon tiger pellet. His eyes flickered, and the corners of his mouth curled into an inexplicable arc. Young Master Ling, hurry up and bid. These people are too crazy. We must get the dragon tiger pill. Master Jiaomu couldn't help but urge. All right, let's bid then. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, and his clear voice rang out. I bid 1 million peerless spiritual stones. The moment Ling Xiao's voice rang out, everyone in the hall was stunned. They looked up and saw that the bidder was from private room number 9. Who was the person in private room number 9? To think that he would call out a price of 1 million peerless spirit stones. One had to know that this price was close to the true value of the dragon tiger pill. This voice. It's so familiar. I know, he's Ling Xiao, the one who defeated Shi Tianluo from the Myriad Beasts sect. Someone exclaimed, recognizing Ling Xiao's identity from the voice. It's him? I heard that he's only in the first level of the dragon tiger realm, and he defeated the true disciple of the Myriad Beasts sect, Shi Tianluo. What a monster! But it's a pity, I heard that he's going to have a life and death battle with the disciples of the Myriad Beasts sect in a month's time. No wonder he's so determined to get the dragon tiger pill. It's a matter of life and death. Everyone was discussing animatedly as a strange look appeared in their eyes. Chapter 197. Alright, Room 9 bids 1 million peerless grade spirit stones. Is there anyone else? This is a pill that can raise a dragon tiger realm cultivator's cultivation by 3 levels. If you miss this chance, you won't have another chance. Xia Rui's face was flushed red, but his heart was blooming with joy. The higher the auction price, the more commission he would get. Thus, he couldn't wait for the price of the pill to rise. You want to buy the pill with a mere 1 million peerless grade spirit stones? What wishful thinking! I bid 1,500,000 peerless grade spirit stones. Chen Fengdao's voice came from box 13 with a hint of sneer and disdain. That's right. The dragon tiger pill is something that can only be found by chance. I bid 2 million peerless grade spirit stones. He Qing's voice also sounded from private room number 3. It was incomparably indifferent. Damn it. Chen Fengdao is courting death. I should really cripple that bastard. This caused Qingqing to be angered to the point her beautiful face flushed red while her towering chest rose and fell along with her breathing, and it revealed a trace of smoothness and cleavage that caused one's blood to boil. Jiao Mu's complexion was also very unsightly. His eyes revealed a trace of worry as he said, Master, Chen Fengdao is one thing, but the Wanshou sect is determined not to let us obtain the dragon tiger pellet. It's fine. A mere dragon tiger pill is nothing in my eyes. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. There was no anger on his face. However, his voice rang out from the room. I bid 3 million peerless grade spirit stones. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed like Ling Xiao was really determined to buy the pill. However, 3 million peerless grade spirit stones was enough to buy 2 dragon tiger pills. However, room 13 and room 3 wouldn't let him get what he wanted, right? As expected, room 13 continued to bid. Chen Fengdao sneered. I bid 4 million peerless grade spirit stones. Ling Xiao, this dragon tiger pill is really good. It just so happens that one of my slaves has broken through to the dragon tiger realm. It's just right for him to consume it. Don't force yourself to bid. Provocation. This was a blatant provocation. Everyone's gaze turned strange. When did Ling Xiao offend Chen Fengdao? Chen Feng said. He was obviously targeting Ling Xiao. Don't go overboard. I'm determined to get this dragon tiger pellet. I'll pay 4,500,000 peerless spirit stones. Ling Xiao's angry voice came from room 3. He Qing laughed coldly and said, "What a joke. The treasures in the auction go to the highest bidder. If you can't afford the price, don't lose face here. I'll pay 5 million supreme grade spirit stones." 5 million. Ling Xiao's voice grew colder and colder. There was even a trace of anger that he could not suppress. Just like that, under the bidding of Chen Fengdao and He Qing, the price of the dragon tiger pellet actually began to soar at a speed that made people's jaws drop. Private room number 2. The moon god wore a white robe and was enveloped in the cold moonlight. She looked otherworldly and mysterious. Xia Hongxiu was still wearing her red armor. Her figure was perfect, and she looked valiant. She had a different kind of beauty. Senior sister, it seems like Ling Xiao is determined to get the dragon tiger pellet, but the Wanshou sect is going too far. They're trying to cut off all of Ling Xiao's hopes. Xia Hongxiu's eyes revealed a hint of worry. Really? I'm afraid you're mistaken. The Wanshou sect is going to suffer a huge loss this time. The moon goddess's bright eyes landed on the dragon tiger pellet. Her bright eyes flashed with a light as if she was smiling, and she spoke faintly. Suffer a loss? Why would we suffer a loss? Xia Hongxiu asked, puzzled. Continue watching. Even I almost misjudged it. The moon god said. Under the fierce competition between Ling Xiao, Chen Fengdao, and the Wanshou sect, the price of the dragon tiger pellet quickly rose to 8 million supreme grade spirit stones. Young master, we can't bid anymore. If we continue to bid, we won't be able to afford the martial skill manual that you've set your eyes on. The middle-aged housekeeper in black beside Chen Fengdao said with a bitter smile. Alright, then I won't bid anymore. Anyway, the Wanshou sect is standing in front of us. They're definitely the ones who don't want Ling Xiao to get the dragon tiger pellet. Chen Fengdao said with a cold smile after hesitating for a moment. He Qing, don't go too far. I'm going to get the dragon tiger pellet today. 10 million supreme grade spirit stones. Ling Xiao's voice was bone-chilling and filled with anger. It was as though he was going to explode in the next moment. After all, a pill that was originally worth 1 million peerless spirit stones had been forced down to 10 million. Anyone would be infuriated by this. At the same time, the sum of 10 million pinnacle spirit stones left everyone feeling completely giddy. That was 10 million peerless grade spirit stones. 10 million peerless grade spirit stones was more than enough to buy peerless grade pellets and artifacts. Ling Xiao was really going all out for the dragon tiger pellet. After all, it was not just a pill that was at stake. It was the life and death battle that was going to take place a month later. Therefore, no matter how high the price of the dragon tiger pellet was, Ling Xiao was willing to pay any price. In private room number 3, Elder He, 10 million peerless grade spirit stones for a single dragon tiger pellet? I don't think it's worth it. Our target this time is the minor soul cultivation technique. A disciple from the Wanshou sect said hesitantly. It's not worth it. Ling Xiao was able to defeat Shi Tianluo when he was only in the first level of the dragon tiger realm. Even Long Zi did not have such terrifying talent back then. This kid is too monstrous. We must not give him any chance to grow. Therefore, no matter how expensive the dragon tiger pellet is, I must get it. He Qing sneered. I want him to be in complete despair. I will not give him any chance to grow stronger. I will let him die in fear and anger. I will use his blood to intimidate the great desolation ancient country. I will let them know that this is the consequence of offending the Wan Shou sect. After He Qing finished speaking, he immediately sneered and continued to raise the price. Ling Xiao, 10 million supreme grade spirit stones is nothing to me. Let me tell you, as long as I'm around, you can forget about getting the dragon tiger pellet. I'll bid 12 million. He Qing raised the price to 12 million in one go. Although he felt a little heartache, as long as he could prevent Ling Xiao from increasing his strength, even if he had to spend so many spiritual stones to buy a dragon tiger pellet, it was worth it. 12 million supreme grade spirit stones. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Xiare was knocked unconscious by the impact. His entire body was in a daze. It was as if he could see countless supreme grade spirit stones flying towards him. His old face was filled with a wide grin. In private room number 9, Ling Qing and Master Jiao Mu's faces were extremely gloomy. Young Master Ling, what should we do? If we continue to bid, I'm afraid we won't be able to get the divine moon essence. Master Jiao Mu said bitterly. Ling Qing looked at Ling Xiao with a pained expression and said, Brother, why don't I go and beg father? After the auction ends, we can go and kill He Qing and get the dragon tiger pellet back. The two of them were extremely nervous. They were afraid that Ling Xiao would take things too hard. Ling Xiao suddenly laughed. There was no trace of anger on his face. His eyes were filled with mockery. Chapter 198. He Qing, it's just a dragon tiger pellet. I don't care about it at all. To tell you the truth, I'm just toying with you. Seeing a fool like you spend more than 10 million on a dragon tiger pellet, I feel great. You've wasted your life. Why are you still participating in the auction if you're so blind? Go back to the Wan Shou sect. I give up. The dragon tiger pellet is yours. Ling Xiao sneered coldly. He was calm and did not look angry at all. The auction hall was dead silent. Everyone's eyes revealed an incomparably strange expression. If Ling Xiao was going to do as he said, wouldn't the Wan Shou sect be cheated by him? In the third box, the disciples of the Wan Shou sect had ugly expressions on their faces. A sharp glint flashed in He Qing's eyes as he said calmly, Ignore him. He's just bluffing. The dragon tiger pellet can raise his cultivation level to the 3rd level of the dragon tiger realm. How could he not be tempted? I think he's just saying that because he doesn't have any spiritual stones left. Elder, he is right. This little bastard is too shameless. We were almost fooled by him. The disciples of the Wan Shou sect sneered. Ling Xiao and He Qing were in high spirits, but Xiare was the happiest one. The dragon tiger pellet was sold for 12 million peerless spiritual stones. It was 10 times more than what he had expected. In the end, no one else made a bid. Xiare announced that the dragon tiger pellet was sold to He Qing for 12 million peerless spiritual stones. However, Ling Xiao acted out of character in the following auction. He started to bid repeatedly. Whether it was powerful weapons, pellets, spiritual herbs, or other treasures, Ling Xiao started to bid for them. He kept raising the price until he gave up. Hence, He Qing and Chen Fengdao were unlucky. They spent more than 10 times the price to get their hands on many treasures. The Wan Shou sect was rich and could afford it. However, Chen Fengdao's face darkened. Young master, let's not participate in the auction. With the Wan Shou sect around, Ling Xiao is destined to return empty-handed. He's already learned how to play dirty. If this goes on, we won't be able to afford that martial skill. The black-clothed middle-aged man forced a smile and tried to persuade him. In this short period of time, Chen Fengdao had already spent 5 million pinnacle spirit stones on a few spirit pills and spirit herbs. Yet, all of these items added together were not even worth 1 million pinnacle spirit stones. As the butler of the great General Manor, the black-robed middle-aged man could not help but feel his heart ache. Bastard! This little bastard actually dared to trick me. I'm not done with him. Chen Fengdao slammed the table with a gloomy and crazy look in his eyes. Thinking about how he had spent so many spirit stones to buy a pile of junk, Chen Fengdao's heart was filled with anger. In the Wan Shou sect's private room number 3, He Qing also frowned. Elder He, I'm afraid Ling Xiao has already seen through our intentions. That's why he's bidding for every item. If this continues, we won't be able to take it. Yeah, the Sun Moon Star sect hasn't made a move yet. If we miss out on the minor soul refining technique because of Ling Xiao, then the gains will not make up for the losses. The disciples of the Wan Shou sect all had ugly expressions on their faces. This little bastard, he really deserves to die. He's deliberately trying to trick us. When we see elixirs and treasures that can increase cultivation later, get them for me. We can't let Ling Xiao get them. As for the other items, no matter if Ling Xiao bids or not, give them all up. He Qing said coldly, a trace of anger flashing in his eyes. In the following auctions, He Qing and Chen Fengdao suffered a few losses and bid less. Although Ling Xiao kept raising the price, He Qing did not blindly follow suit. However, when they came across elixirs and treasures that could increase cultivation, He Qing was very decisive in bidding. No matter how high the price was, he did not give Ling Xiao any chance. Therefore, after more than half of the auction, Ling Xiao did not get anything. Everyone, it's time for another exciting moment. The next item up for auction was a peerless Earth-class martial art, 7 Annihilation Slash. This 7 slashes of destruction is a saber martial skill that was obtained from an ancient relic. Its power is unparalleled, and it can kill demons and destroy gods. It's very powerful. If you can get your hands on it, you will be able to stabilize your family's fortune and create a heaven realm expert. This is also one of the 3 final items in this auction. The starting price is 1 million Supreme Grade Spirit Stones, and each bid must be at least 10,000 Supreme Grade Spirit Stones. Now, please make your bids. A pretty maid walked up with a piece of black jade. The jade was ancient, and there were mysterious characters flashing on it, emitting an incomparably sharp light. All of a sudden, everyone became excited. Their breathing quickened, and their eyes revealed an incomparably blazing light. Every time the Great Wilderness Auction House held an auction, there would be a grand finale treasure at the end. However, this time, as the biggest auction of the year, there were a total of 3 grand finale treasures that had appeared. Many well-informed people had already found out in advance that there would be a peerless Earth-class martial art being auctioned this time around. In the entire capital, only the Demon King Mansion had a heaven-class ultimate martial skill, the Triple Kill Demon Subduing Blade. The Great Wilderness Royal Family also had a heaven-class ultimate martial skill. Other than that, the strongest one was the Earth-class ultimate martial skill. An Earth-class ultimate martial skill could create a heaven realm expert and protect a 1,000-year-old family. It could allow a family to rise instantly and prosper. It could be said that as long as one obtained this Earth-class ultimate martial skill, it represented the future of a family. How could everyone not go crazy? This was especially so for the big families in the capital. Each of them was rubbing their palms together, ready to pay any price to obtain the 7 destruction slash. In box 13, Chen Fengdao seemed to have been injected with chicken blood after hearing about the 7 annihilation slash. He instantly became extremely excited. Young master, it is indeed the 7 annihilation slash. As long as we obtain this jade annulus, our Chen clan will truly possess a Tian-grade martial art. In time, it will not be impossible for us to replace the Xia clan and establish an ancient kingdom. We must get it. The middle-aged man in the black robe was also trembling. His eyes were filled with passion. His cultivation had also reached the 8th layer of the Grandmaster realm. He was loyal to Chen Weishan and Chen Fengdao, so he knew many secrets of the Chen family, just like the 7 destruction slash this time. To others, the 7 destruction slash was a powerful Earth-class ultimate martial skill. However, to him and Chen Fengdao, the 7 destruction slash was a heaven-class ultimate martial skill that contained the will of heaven and earth. Chapter 199. That's right. Father obtained the jade annulus by chance, and it's exactly the same as this jade annulus. Father spent a lot of effort to research the jade annulus. It contained a heaven-class saber martial art, but it was missing the upper part of the martial art, so it couldn't be cultivated. Later on, Father accidentally found the jade annulus of the 7 annihilation slashes in the Xia family, but he didn't dare to announce it. I didn't expect the Xia family to auction the 7 annihilation slashes. The heavens are really helping my Qin family. Only when these 2 jade annulus are combined can the secret of the martial art be completely unraveled. We must obtain the 7 annihilation slashes. When the time comes, we won't get the Earth Class 7 annihilation slashes, but the Heaven Class 8 annihilation slashes. Chen Fengdao said excitedly. His eyes were fixed on the jade annulus on the auction stage, full of passion. A light flashed in Chen Fengdao's hand, and an identical black jade annulus appeared. It was simple and mysterious, flowing with a faint brilliance. In box number 5. Ninth Prince Xia Yunran's eyes lit up. He said, Chen Weishan, I've already asked my family to auction the 7 annihilation slashes. It's up to you whether you can get it or not. Ninth Prince, is there some secret to the 7 annihilation slashes? Why is Chen Weishan so interested in this Earth Class 7 annihilation slash? We've spent so much to help him, is it really worth it? A middle-aged scholar besides Xia Yunran asked curiously. Mr. Mo, although the 7 annihilation slashes is an ancient martial art, it's only a Earth Class 7 annihilation slash. There's no secret. Chen Weishan controls the army. Although he's friendly towards me, he's still wavering. His attitude towards Big Brother is also very ambiguous. Since he needs my help, why don't I help him this time? He'll owe me a favor, so naturally he won't dare to side with Big Brother. Xia Yunran smiled faintly, his eyes revealing a wisp of wisdom. Your Highness is brilliant. The world only knows that the first prince is the leader of the 5 young masters, but they don't know that your Highness' cultivation is no weaker than the first prince's. If Chen Weishan completely sides with us, your Highness will control more than half of the army. Mr. Mo said with a smile. We have to pick up the pace and rope in the civil and military officials. Once Royal Father takes that step, we have to take action immediately. We can't give Big Brother any chance to turn things around. Xia Yunran's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness as he said indifferently. Mr. Mo bowed and said, the auction hall was in an uproar. I bid 1,200,000 peerless spirit stones. Hee, Zhang Lao-san, don't embarrass yourself here. The 7 severing slash belongs to my Lu clan. I'll pay 2 million supreme grade spirit stones for it. 3 million. 3,300,000. All the family heads in the royal capital started to get excited. They all started to bid desperately, wanting to get the 7 destruction slash. A bunch of ignorant country bumpkins. It's just a mere earth-tier peerless martial technique, yet they're fighting over it. That's right, in our one-show sect, as long as you are an inner disciple, you can practice any peerless earth-class martial art. The Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom is just a backwater place. They are just a bunch of frogs at the bottom of a well. The disciples of the Wan Shou sect sneered, their eyes filled with disdain. Which of the inner disciples who followed He Qing did not practice any earth-class peerless martial technique? Even a true disciple like Shi Tianluo had inherited a heaven-class martial art. He Qing's eyes flickered, and he said indifferently, don't bother about them. Our goal is the minor soul refining technique. We don't care about anything else. 5 million. 5,200,000. I bid 6 million. The 7 severing slash belongs to my Deng clan. Under the frenzied bidding of the crowd, the price of the 7 severing slash rose steadily. Soon, it reached 7 million. 7 million supreme grade spirit stones was already a very high price. Many of the big clans in the royal capital stopped bidding with a bitter look on their faces. Only a few people continued to bid. I bid 10 million supreme grade spirit stones. At this moment, a clear voice rang out and instantly covered the entire auction hall. Everyone was stunned as they looked in the direction of the voice. Their eyes revealed a trace of shock. 10 million supreme grade spirit stones was close to the true price of the 7 severing slash. Many people began to consider whether they should continue bidding or not. The auction hall fell silent. Everyone, I am Chen Fengdao. I hope that you can give me some face and let me have the 7 severing slash. My Qin clan will repay you generously in the future. The door of booth 13 opened, and Qin Fengdao appeared. He was dressed in black, and he had a tall and slender figure. He looked dignified and dignified. He clasped his hands together and looked at the crowd with a smile. Qin Fengdao? He's that lunatic from the Qin clan? He's ranked 3rd among the 5 princes of the royal capital, second only to the first prince and Ling Qingqing. I didn't expect him to be interested in the 7 severing slash. Great General Chen Weishan is now in a high position, commanding the armies of the world and inheriting the good fortune of the Demon Lord. The Qin clan is now one of the most powerful clans in the entire capital. If Qin Fengdao says this, I'm afraid no one will give him any face. It seems like this martial art is going to fall into Qin Fengdao's hands. That's right. The Sun Moon Star sect and the Myriad Beasts sect definitely won't care about an Earth-grade supreme-grade martial art. The princes won't need it either. The other clans probably won't be able to compare to the great general's residence. Everyone's eyes flashed as they began to whisper to each other. Even the few families who had originally intended to continue bidding began to hesitate. Qin Fengdao's eyes flashed with satisfaction and excitement. It seemed like everyone knew the importance of the Qin clan and chose to give up. Seeing that the 7 severing slash was about to fall into his hands, Qin Fengdao was extremely excited. Although this 7 severing slash is not as good as my father's triple kill demon banishing blade, it's still not bad. I can leave it for the guards of the Demon King's residence to cultivate. This king bids 10.01 million. Just when Qin Fengdao thought that the 7 severing slash was about to fall into his hands, a lazy voice rang out. Is that Ling Xiao? Everyone turned to look in the direction of the voice, and a strange look appeared in their eyes. The triple kill demon banishing blade left behind by the Demon King was a heaven-grade martial art. Its power was unparalleled, and it was much more powerful than the 7 severing slash. Logically speaking, Ling Xiao shouldn't be interested in the 7 severing slash. Why would he bid for it? Could it be that he wanted to take revenge on Qin Fengdao? Everyone's eyes flashed as they recalled how Qin Fengdao had raised the price when Ling Xiao was bidding. They didn't expect that retribution would come so quickly. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao and Qin Fengdao were at odds. Moreover, Ling Xiao only added 10,000 supreme-grade spiritual stones. This was a slap in the face. He was obviously here to cause trouble. Qin Fengdao's face darkened as he looked at the 9 severing slash with murderous intent. I bid 11 million. Qin Fengdao's voice was extremely cold, as though it was squeezed out from the gaps of his teeth. 11.01 million. Chapter 200. In the 9th room. Ling Qingqing's face was filled with excitement as she said, Great! That bastard Qin Fengdao dared to trick us. We can't let him get the 7 destruction slash so easily. Young Master Ling, the 7 destruction slash is useless to us. Don't go overboard. If Qin Fengdao gives up, we'll be at a huge disadvantage. Master Jiao Mu's eyes were filled with worry. He knew that Ling Xiao wanted to take revenge on Qin Fengdao, but they still had to compete for the Sun Moon Divine Essence. The Moon God also had her eyes on the Sun Moon Divine Essence. Even Master Jiao Mu had to be worried when facing a giant like the Sun Moon Divine Essence. Don't worry. No matter how many spiritual stones Qin Fengdao spends, he won't give up on the 7 destruction slash. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a wisp of wisdom flashed in his eyes. When the black jade was taken out, Ling Xiao felt a familiar aura from it. The complete version of the 7 destruction slash should be called the 10 destruction slash. The 10 annihilation slash was a heaven-class high-grade martial art. 10,000 years ago, it was created by an expert known as the Saber Emperor. It was said that although the 10 annihilation slash was only a heaven-class high-grade martial art, in the hands of the Saber Emperor, it was able to erupt with power comparable to a heaven-class peerless martial art. Ling Xiao had once fought with the Saber Emperor and experienced the might of the 10 annihilation slash. Therefore, he was very familiar with this saber martial art. When he felt the aura on the jade disc, he knew that this was the 10 annihilation slash. However, the jade disc sold at the auction did not seem to be complete. Ling Zhao's powerful spiritual perception allowed him to sense a jade disc with the same aura as Qin Fengdao's. Therefore, Ling Xiao guessed that Qin Fengdao probably knew the secret of the 10 destruction slash. That was why he wanted to get the 7 destruction slash at all costs. I bid 12 million. Qin Fengdao's eyes grew colder and colder. He looked at the 9th room with an undisguised murderous intent. 12.01 million. Ling Xiao continued to bid. Just like that, every time Qin Fengdao made a bid, Ling Xiao would outbid him by 10,000 peerless grade spirit stones. In the end, only the voices of Qin Fengdao and Ling Xiao could be heard in the hall. Everyone had different expressions on their faces. None of them had thought that Qin Fengdao and Ling Xiao would end up going head-to-head. Elder He, should we attack? Asked a disciple of the Wan Shou sect. He Qing smiled faintly and said, let them dogs bite each other. We won't do anything. The triple-kill demon vanquishing blade of the Demon King's residence is much more powerful than this so-called 7 annihilation slash. Ling Xiao is deliberately trying to annoy Qin Fengdao. We won't join in the fun. The Wan Shou sect disciple nodded. The flames of fury in Qin Fengdao's eyes burned brighter and brighter, as if they were about to spew out. If gazes could kill, Qin Fengdao would probably have already crushed Ling Xiao's bones and scattered his ashes at this moment to vent the hatred in his heart. Ling Xiao, don't go too far. I'll bid 20 million pinnacle spirit stones. Go ahead and bid if you can. I'd like to see if you have that many pinnacle spirit stones on you. Qin Fengdao roared. His eyes were spitting fire, and his voice was incomparably cold. At the same time, he felt a tinge of regret in his heart. If he had known earlier, he would have let the Wan Shou sect deal with Ling Xiao. Why did he have to join in the fun? In the end, he had shot himself in the foot. Young master, we only have 20 million pinnacle spirit stones in total. If Ling Xiao bids again, we won't be able to afford it. The black-robed middle-aged man said with a bitter look on his face. Ling Xiao deserves to die. I must kill him. Qin Fengdao felt as if his heart was bleeding. Originally, 10 million pinnacle spirit stones was enough to get the 7 annihilation slash. But because of Ling Xiao's interference, the price had risen to 20 million pinnacle spirit stones. But this was an auction, and Qin Fengdao couldn't do anything. Even if he did, he wouldn't be able to defeat Ling Xiao. So, he had nowhere to vent his anger. He was on the verge of going crazy. 20, 10, 0, 0, 0. Ling Xiao's indifferent voice rang out. He still had a carefree look on his face. Qin Fengdao, this is an auction. The highest bidder wins. You don't have to worry about whether I can afford it or not. But if you can't afford it, the 7 annihilation slash will really be mine. In another box, Xia Yunran frowned and said coldly, this Ling Xiao really doesn't know what's good for him. He's already doomed for the life and death battle a month later. How can he still be in the mood to make enemies? Mr. Mo's eyes flashed and he said slowly, Your Highness, what should we do now? If Ling Xiao is determined to compete with Qin Fengdao might not be able to get the 7 annihilation slash. No, the 7 annihilation slash must be sent to Qin Fengdao. We must get Qin Weishan. Take out 10 million pinnacle spirit stones and give it to Qin Fengdao. We must let him get the 7 annihilation slash. Xia Yunran's eyes flashed sharply as he said decisively. There was a trace of pain on his face. 10 million extreme-grade spirit stones was a huge amount of resources for Xia Yunran. Even if he had to fork out such a huge sum of money, he had no other choice at this point. Your Highness is wise. Mr. Mo nodded and turned to leave the box. Soon, 10 million pinnacle spirit stones were sent to Qin Fengdao. Thank you, Your Highness. My Qin family will always be Your Highness's staunchest supporter. Qin Fengdao was overjoyed. At the same time, he represented his Qin family's loyalty. Ling Xiao, I'll bid 30 million pinnacle spirit stones. If you have the ability, continue to bid. I'd like to see if you can take out that many pinnacle spirit stones. Qin Fengdao's cold voice rang out in the auction hall. Everyone's body trembled as they sucked in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were filled with shock. 30 million pinnacle spirit stones was a sky-high price. Even a heaven-class low-grade martial art could be bought at such a high price. However, Chen Fengdao actually added 10 million pinnacle spirit stones to the 7 annihilation slash. He was indeed a lunatic. Everyone thought of Chen Fengdao's nickname and sighed. Such a sky-high price caused many people to shrink back. Even the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect and Myriad Beasts sect were shocked. Chen Fengdao's eyes were cold as he stared at box number 3. He had already decided that if Ling Xiao continued to bid, he would give up. At most, he would wait until Ling Xiao died in the hands of the Myriad Beasts sect a month later. He would then buy the 7 annihilation slash from them. Chen Fengdao's hatred for Ling Xiao had reached a boiling point. After a while, Ling Xiao smiled faintly. 30 million pinnacle spirit stones. The Chen family is really rich. Since the Chen family likes the 7 annihilation slash so much, I'll fulfill your wish. I give up. Pooh. Everyone nearly coughed out a mouthful of blood. If a gentleman doesn't snatch what others love, what were you doing earlier? Who was the person who fought with Chen Fengdao to the death earlier? Too shameless. Too shameless. Chapter 201. Chen Fengdao's face flushed red as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were burning with rage as he was enraged by Ling Xiao. His heart was bleeding. Originally, he could have gotten it for 10 million peerless grade spirit stones. But in the end, he had to pay 3 times the price. This was all because of Ling Xiao. Chen Fengdao's eyes were incomparably gloomy, and his expression was somewhat sinister. He took a deep breath and suppressed his boiling blood and anger. He kept consoling himself in his heart. The 7 annihilation slashes was not an Earth-class extreme martial art, but a heaven-class martial art. In the end, he had profited. Xia Rui stood in the middle of the auction hall with a look of excitement on his face. Seeing that no one was bidding anymore, he quickly announced the result. I hereby announce that Chen Fengdao has obtained the Earth-class peerless grade martial art. Xia Rui announced. This meant that the 7 obliteration slashes would go to Chen Fengdao. Chen Fengdao heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. However, his face was still expressionless as killing intent surged out from his body. Next up is the second item of the auction, the divine essence of extreme Yin. Just as Xia Rui finished speaking, Ling Xiao and Moon God looked at each other and were both shocked. Their eyes looked sharp. The auction for the divine essence of extreme Yin was finally about to begin. The divine essence of extreme Yin is nurtured in a place of extreme Yin for millions of years. It contains a trace of Xiantian extreme Yin Qi and is most suitable for women to consume. It can transform a woman's body into a pure Yin body. Furthermore, the divine essence of extreme Yin can also be used to refine pills and weapons. It is a legendary treasure that can refine Dao weapons and Dao pills. There are a total of 3 drops of divine essence of extreme Yin, and we will be auctioning them together. The starting price is 1 million peerless grade spirit stones. Each bid must be at least 10,000 peerless grade spirit stones. Everyone, please make your bids. Xia Rui said with a smile. A heavenly treasure like the divine essence of extreme Yin was not very attractive to ordinary people. However, to alchemists and blacksmiths, it was extremely valuable. A heavenly treasure like this was simply too hard to come by. However, the starting price of 1 million peerless grade spirit stones was enough to deter many people. For a moment, no one made a bid. After a while, an old man in an alchemist's robe said, "This divine essence of extreme Yin is indeed very valuable. I bid 1 million peerless grade spirit stones." It's Master Chun Xin. I heard that he's an alchemist consecrated by the royal family. To think that he's interested in the divine essence of extreme Yin. Someone's eyes flashed as he recognized the old man's identity. 2 million peerless spirit stones. An old but domineering voice rang out from room number 6. There was a cold fluctuation in the air. Master Chun Xin was shocked as if he had thought of something. He smiled bitterly and said, "Since the blacksmith master has taken a fancy to the extreme Yin divine essence, I have nothing to fight for. I forfeit. Profound Weapon Master? Everyone was shocked and their gazes instantly turned to room 6. The Profound Blacksmith Grandmaster was the only upper-grade blacksmith grandmaster in the entire Grand Desolation Ancient Kingdom. Who would have thought that he would actually participate in today's auction? Wasn't it said that Xian weapon grandmasters were eccentric, to the point where they even dared to refuse to meet the Emperor of the Great Wilderness? Why would he participate in today's auction? He must be here for the minor soul refining technique. Someone's spirit shook as they thought of the final treasure and understood what was going on. The Profound Weapon Master had been stuck at the upper-grade Weapon Master level for many years. The reason why he wanted to break through to the Peerless Grade Weapon Master level was definitely because of the minor soul refining art. Later, there would definitely be a fierce battle. A Profound Weapon Master? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he released his mental strength. He could feel that room 6 was being wrapped up by a powerful mental strength. The mental strength was as vast as the sea and was even stronger than Ling Zhao's mental strength. When the mental strength sensed Ling Zhao's mental strength, there was a cold and sharp radiance pressing towards him. Ling Zhao retracted his mental strength and a playful look appeared in his eyes. In room number 6, there was a tall and burly old man in a black robe. His entire body was emitting a cold aura. He was the famous Profound Weapon Master in the Grand Desolation Ancient Kingdom. At this moment, there was a glimmer of light in his turbid eyes as he looked puzzled. This is strange. Whose mental strength is so strong? Even Jiao Mu's mental strength can't be so strong. Could it be that guy called Ling Xiao? The Profound Weapon Master mumbled. I bid 5 million Peerless Grade Spiritual Stones. Ling Zhao's indifferent voice rang out. Everyone was stunned. Ling Xiao was really going to stir up shit until the end. He was a man who was neither a blacksmith nor an alchemist. What use did he have for the Grand Moon Divine Essence? When He Qing and Qin Fengdao saw Ling Zhao's bid, they sneered but did not do anything. The Grand Moon Divine Essence obviously has no effect on Ling Xiao. This guy must be trying to trick us. He's too cunning. He Qing and Qin Fengdao sneered inwardly. In room 2, when Yueshan heard Ling Zhao's bid, a strange light flashed in her eyes. Senior sister, I think Ling Xiao is trying to lure Qin Fengdao and He Qing to make a move. Should we wait for a while before making a move? Anyway, the Grand Moon Divine Essence is definitely yours. No one will snatch it from you. Xia Hongxiu's eyes flashed as she smiled. I don't think so. I feel that Ling Xiao is really trying to buy the Grand Moon Divine Essence. Yueshan's beautiful eyes flashed as she spoke. He wants to buy the Grand Moon Divine Essence? I don't think so. The Grand Moon Divine Essence is the most useful to you. With the Grand Moon Divine Essence, you can cultivate your Grand Moon True skill to the complete realm. Could it be that Ling Xiao wants to buy it to get on your good side? Xia Hongxiu was stunned for a moment before she teased. However, there was an inexplicable bitterness in her heart. Who knows? However, I must get the Grand Moon Divine Essence. Yueshan's eyes were calm, but there was a tinge of determination in her voice. 5 million Peerless Spiritual Stones? I give up. The Profound Weapon Master shook his head and gave up. He was just casually bidding. However, 5 million Peerless Spiritual Stones had exceeded his expectations. Hence, he did not continue bidding. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? This is a top-notch treasure. It can be used to refine Dao weapons and Dao pills. It's a great deal to buy it. Xia Rui looked as though he wanted to stir up trouble. His voice was filled with bewitchment. Young Masterling, it's up to the Sun Moon Star sect now. They are our real opponents. Master Jiao Mu was a little nervous. He knew that Ling Xiao was interested in the Grand Moon Divine Essence. Hence, he was afraid that Ling Xiao would not be able to compete with the Sun Moon Star sect. Indeed, as soon as Xia Rui's voice fell, a cold voice rang out from room 2. 10 million. Chapter 202. Yueshan had made her move. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of brilliance. Yueshan had the Taiyin body. If she could get the Taiyin Divine Essence, it would be beneficial to her cultivation. Moreover, Yueshan cultivated the Taiyin True technique. Ling Xiao knew that the Taiyin Divine Essence could help her reach the Great Completion realm. That was why Yueshan had come to the auction today for the Taiyin Divine Essence. However, Ling Xiao would not give it up. 12 million. Ling Xiao said. 15 million. Yueshan continued to bid. Young Master Ling, we only have 20 million pinnacle-grade spirit stones in total. However, compared to the Sun-Moon Star sect, it's not enough. However, if the minor soul refining technique is auctioned, we will definitely earn a large amount of spiritual stones. A hint of anxiety appeared in Master Jiamu's eyes. No matter how many spiritual stones I have to spend, I must get the Taiyin Divine Essence. The reason why the Sun-Moon sect and the Wanshou sect are participating in the auction is mainly for the minor soul refining technique. I believe that if the time comes, the Moon Goddess will definitely choose the minor soul refining technique. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, revealing a wisp of wisdom. 20 million. Ling Xiao's voice was filled with a sense of determination to win. 25 million. Yueshan said. Her voice was as clear as ever. In the entire auction hall, only the voices of Ling Xiao and Yueshan raising the price could be heard. Their bids left everyone dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with shock. Although the extreme Yin Divine Essence was precious and was a top heavenly treasure, it didn't have many uses. Besides some women who cultivated Yin attribute cultivation methods, refiners and alchemists, other martial artists had no use for it at all. Therefore, the crowd thought that the Taiyin Divine Essence could only be auctioned for 10 million at most. However, as Ling Xiao and Yueshan competed, the price of the Taiyin Divine Essence shot up to 30 million Supreme-grade spiritual stones. 30 million Supreme-grade spiritual stones was the same price as the 7 Destruction Slash. However, the crowd thought that the Taiyin Divine Essence was not as valuable as the 7 Destruction Slash. A glint flashed across Ling Xiao's eyes. He took a deep breath and shouted out a number. 50 million. What? Ling Xiao's voice was like a clap of thunder, causing everyone in the auction hall to feel dizzy. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock. That was 50 million extreme-grade spirit stones. Even the strongest families in the capital wouldn't be able to take out 50 million extreme-grade spirit stones so easily. Was Ling Xiao crazy for a mere 3 drops of extreme Yin Divine Essence? Not to mention, where did he get so many pinnacle spirit stones from? In the third box, the Wanshou sect's disciples' eyes were filled with shock. Clearly, the sum of 50 million pinnacle spirit stones was enough to shake them to their core. Elder He, could it be that Ling Xiao really wants to buy the divine essence of Moon? If the extreme Yin Divine Essence is so important to him, should we help him raise the price? A disciple of the Wanshou sect sneered. He Qing thought about it for a moment before shaking his head. No, Ling Xiao is too cunning. If this is a trap set by him, and we really spend 50 million peerless grade spirit stones to buy the great Yin Divine Essence, we won't be able to get the minor soul refining art anymore. Clearly, after being tricked by Ling Xiao a few times, He Qing was a little afraid. More importantly, the next item to be auctioned was the minor soul refining art. This was a secret skill that could increase one's mental strength. Compared to that, stopping Ling Xiao was secondary. Elder He is right. Ling Xiao is too cunning. We can't fall for his trap. The Wanshou sect's disciple nodded in agreement. The Wanshou sect didn't make a move, and the second box remained silent. Senior sister, you're right. Ling Xiao really wants the extreme Yin Divine Essence? Why aren't you bidding anymore? Xia Hongxiu's eyes revealed a hint of curiosity. The moon god's eyes flashed as she said, the most important thing now is the auction of the minor soul refining art. Although the extreme Yin Divine Essence is very useful to me, if I really get it, it will be troublesome for me to bid for the minor soul refining art. Forget it, since Ling Xiao wants the extreme Yin Divine Essence, I'll just give it to him. Xia Hongxiu curled her lips and said, Ling Xiao is really ungentlemanly. He has no use for the extreme Yin Divine Essence. Why does he have to compete with senior sister? Then I'm afraid you're wrong. I have a feeling that the extreme Yin Divine Essence is what Ling Xiao wants the most. The moon god smiled faintly as a strange light flashed in her eyes. The moon god didn't continue bidding, and the 50 million peerless grade spirit stones had completely stunned everyone. After a long time, Xiarif finally regained his senses. His old face was filled with excitement as he shouted, "The 9th box has bid 50 million peerless grade spirit stones. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? This is a top-grade treasure that can be used to refine Dao weapons and Dao pills. It's a great deal to buy it." Xiare shouted as he looked at the second box with anticipation. He knew who the person in the second box was. To others, 50 million peerless grade spirit stones might be a huge sum, but to the person in the second box, 50 million peerless grade spirit stones was nothing. Xiare was really greedy. 50 million peerless grade spirit stones. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao, the extreme Yin divine essence would only be worth 10 million peerless grade spirit stones. The second box was still silent. Xiare could only retract his gaze in disappointment. Since no one wants to continue bidding, I hereby announce that the extreme Yin divine essence belongs to the 9th box. The golden hammer in Xiare's hand fell, signifying the final owner of the extreme Yin divine essence. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. Just as he had expected, the moon god had given up on bidding. The extreme Yin divine essence had landed in his hands in the end. To others, spending 50 million peerless grade spirit stones to buy the extreme Yin divine essence was a waste. However, to Ling Xiao, it was worth it no matter how many spirit stones he spent. The extreme Yin divine essence was a top-grade Yin attribute spiritual seed. It was directly related to whether Ling Xiao could break through to the second level of the heaven-devouring secret skill. For the extreme Yin divine essence, he was willing to pay any price. "I didn't expect you to be so rich. 50 million peerless grade spirit stones. You took it out just like that. You made me worry for nothing." Ling Qingqing glared at Ling Xiao before bursting into laughter. Her smile was as beautiful as a blooming flower. "Sister Qingqing, you're wrong about that. Master Jiamu and I combined don't even have that many spirit stones." Ling Xiao chuckled. "What?" Qingqing was shocked, and a trace of anxiousness appeared in her eyes. "Then what should we do? If you can't take out 50 million peerless grade spirit stones after the auction, the Great Wilderness Auction House won't let you off. Why are you so reckless? What should I do? What should I do? No, I have to go back and look for my father. The old man has a lot of spirit stones." Ling Qingqing stood up and prepared to leave the box. "Sister Qingqing, don't worry. There will be spirit stones soon." Chapter 203. Nonsense. 50 million supreme grade spirit stones isn't a small sum. Where are you going to get so many supreme grade spirit stones? Ling Qingqing asked Ling Xiao. "Because the next auction item was provided by me." Ling Xiao smiled. At the same time, Xiaorui's voice echoed throughout the auction hall. "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the most exciting part of the auction. The next item is the last item of the auction. It's a cultivation technique called the minor soul refining technique. As you all know, it's extremely difficult for alchemists and blacksmiths to level up. The main reason is that it takes too long to raise one's mental strength. In order for a level 9 Grandmaster to reach the celestial realm and become one with the heavens and the earth, one has to have an extremely strong mental strength to break through. The minor soul refining technique is a secret skill that can raise one's mental strength. Xiaorui's words silenced the entire auction hall. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock. As for those who already knew that the minor soul refining art was going to be auctioned, such as the moon goddess, He Qing, the mystic weapon master, and the eldest prince, their eyes lit up at the same time. The minor soul refining technique had finally appeared. This was especially so for Yueshan and He Qing. Their eyes were filled with determination. Anyone can cultivate the minor soul refining technique. It absorbs the essence of heaven and earth to strengthen one's mental strength. The highest level one can reach is the level of an alchemist or blacksmith. It's also helpful for a level 9 celestial realm expert to break through to the legendary noble realm. Therefore, I believe I don't have to explain the value of the minor soul refining technique. Now, let's begin the auction. There's no starting price for the miner's soul refining technique. Everyone feel free to bid. Xiaorui's face was filled with excitement. His eyes were filled with anticipation. He had made a killing in today's auction. Just the extreme Yin God essence was already sold for 50 million pinnacle spirit stones. If that was the case, how many pinnacle spirit stones would the lesser soul refining art fetch? Indeed, as soon as Xiaorui finished speaking, someone started to bid. I bid 1 million spiritual stones. The person who bid was Master Chunshin. His eyes were filled with excitement and passion. He had been stuck in the realm of lower-grade alchemy grandmaster for a long time. If he could get his hands on the minor soul refining art, he would be able to make a rapid breakthrough. By then, it would not be impossible for him to surpass the Imperial Advisor and the pure Yang spiritual master. That was why he had asked for 1 million pinnacle spirit stones right off the bat. 1, 2 million, 1,500,000, 1, 8 million. Following closely behind Master Chunshin, the countless alchemists, weapon refiners, and clan heads in the hall began to seethe with excitement. Each of them revealed an extremely excited expression and began to bid. At this moment, a cold voice rang out, directly suppressing everyone's voice. I bid 10 million pinnacle spirit stones. The voice came from room number 6, and the bidder was a profound weapon grandmaster. The moment the profound weapon master opened his mouth, everyone started to hesitate. In terms of wealth, they definitely could not compare to the profound weapon master. Therefore, some directly chose to give up. 15 million. As soon as Master Chunshin opened his mouth, he added another 5 million. His eyes were blazing as he stared at the minor soul refining art on the auction stage. He was prepared to get it at all costs. 20 million. The profound weapon master's voice was cold and there was a hint of arrogance in his voice. However, he had no intention of giving up. The competition for the minor soul refining art was getting more and more intense. What did you say? The minor soul refining art is yours? Qing was unable to regain her senses. She stared at Ling Xiao in a daze, her eyes filled with shock. That's right. The minor soul refining art is a secret skill that I obtained by chance. It isn't very useful to me, and that's why I'm putting it up for auction. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. That's true. You're neither an alchemist nor a weapon refiner. The minor soul refining art is indeed not very useful to you. It's most useful to alchemists and weapon refiners. Ling Qingqing misunderstood Ling Xiao's meaning and nodded her head. Therefore, Sister Qingqing, when I get the minor soul refining art, I definitely won't lack spiritual stones. You're here today for the minor soul refining art, right? However, I advise you to give up. Don't compete with the Sun Moon Star sect and the Wanshou sect. You won't be able to win against them. Ling Qingqing's eyes dimmed as she smiled bitterly. I know that too. But for my father, even if I can't win, I have to give it a try. Sister Qingqing, don't worry. The minor soul refining art is nothing. Give it to your uncle. Ling Xiao smiled as he took out a handwritten copy of the minor soul refining art and handed it to Ling Qingqing. Ling Qingqing was stunned. This for me? Ling Qingqing found it hard to believe. The minor soul refining art was being fought over crazily in the market. The price was close to 50 million peerless spiritual stones. Yet Ling Xiao said that he was going to give it to her. She felt like she was dreaming. Of course, with our relationship, a mere minor soul refining art is nothing. Ling Xiao chuckled. After inheriting the memories of Ling Xiao's original body, he knew that Ling Xiao was a useless martial artist. Although he was the crown prince of the Demon King Manor, he wasn't happy. Although Ling Zhen treated him well, Ling Zhen was very busy and didn't have time to care about him. In his childhood, Ling Xiao was ostracized and ridiculed. Only Shui Wei and Ling Qingqing were the few warm and beautiful existences in his heart. Ling Xiao could feel the dependence and trust that Ling Xiao had for Ling Qingqing. It was as if she was his own sister. That was why Ling Xiao was willing to give away the precious minor soul refining art without hesitation. This is too precious. How can I repay you? Ling Qingqing was a little dazed as she murmured. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he smiled. Sister Qingqing, if you want to repay me, you can give yourself to me. Give myself to you? Ugh. Ling Qingqing nodded, but she immediately reacted. Her face turned red as she glared at Ling Xiao. Give myself to you? Dream on. How dare you tease your sister? You must be itching for a beating. Ling Xiao chuckled. His teasing brought Ling Qingqing back to her senses. She hugged the minor soul refining art tightly and looked at Ling Xiao with sparkling eyes. In the auction hall, even the ninth prince, Xia Yunran, made a move. The price of the minor soul refining art rose higher and higher. In the end, Master Chun Shen and the others had no choice but to give up. In the end, only the master blacksmith continued to bid. 50 million peerless spiritual stones. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.